All right, well, good evening. Welcome to our city council meeting for Tuesday, July 18th. Do want to welcome everyone that's here today, and glad that we have a full house today. So we're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. So we'll go ahead and start with our clerk. You want to go ahead and call our meeting to order?
Councilmember Jackson.
Here.
Councilmember Silva.
Present.
Councilmember Garcia.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Villegas Walker.
Here.
And Mayor Cardenas.
Present. And with that being said, we're going to go ahead and open up with the flag salute. And I've asked Miss Ana Sofia to lead us in the pledge. So if you'd like to approach the podium and lead us in the pledge, and then that'll be followed up by Mayor Pro Tem with Villegas Walker with the invocation.
Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you can remain standing, please.
Bow your heads. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for this community. Thank you for the opportunity for us to come together and do those things that will benefit our community. Help us to remain ever mindful of the many blessings that you bestow upon us. Help us to lead true lives of gratitude for the many things that we have. Help us to reach out to those that are less fortunate, that we can lend a calming word, a kind word, and a hand, and some hope. And these things we pray in thy precious name. Amen.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, and thank you, Ms. Rodriguez. Thank you. Okay. Our next item, we'll go ahead and get a report back from, or get a report out from closed session. And I'll ask our attorney to report back or report out regarding closed session.
There's no action to report from closed session, Mr. Mayor. However, there will be one item to add to the agenda this evening.
Okay, and I'll do that right before we go into consent. And so with that being said, I'm going to go right off the top here with item number 1 under presentation and announcements. We actually have quite a bit of presentations and announcements. This is my favorite part of the agenda. So I'm going to go ahead and start with Miss Ana Sofia Rodriguez. If you can please come up to the podium, please. This is Miss Ana Sofia, and she is here. She actually is, we're recognizing her this evening for winning an art contest. And this was actually put on by the chamber. I know Les is here as well, and my understanding is he was part of the committee in selecting the overall winner. But you want to introduce yourself real quick, Ms. Rodriguez, and share a little bit about the contest?
Okay, so my name is Ana Sofia Rodriguez, like Mayor Alex Cardenas said, and I'm going to be a senior at Southwest High School. And how I came upon this competition, I was in my art class. My art teacher, she told us that it would be a good opportunity to try to enter the competition. So at first I was like, okay, you know what, I'll draw. So at first I was drawing my first kind of draft of it. And I kind of was looking around the room, and I saw that everybody had the exact same art that I had. So I was like, okay, this is definitely not the direction I want to go. So then I threw that one away, and I kind of was thinking, okay, how does agriculture play in the Imperial Valley? And I was researching, I did a lot of research, and the Imperial Valley, it actually plays a very important part in the agriculture industry. It goes all throughout California and also to other close by states. And so I kind of wanted to try to encompass that in an artwork. And actually, my dad and I, we live really close to the canals, so we would, on the weekends, we'd go bike riding. And then we'd go like every weekend. And we would see at first that they would plant all the crops, and then they would start to grow, and then the migrant workers came and they would try to pick them up. And I was thinking to myself one day, I want to try to kind of put that into my poster. So I did my first draft, and then I drew it out, and so that's how my artwork came to be. And I also put as you could see, I put food, water, natural resources, because that's also some things that the Imperial Valley plays, because we have the IID. So we also have a lot of canals, and also we have solar energy, because the sun is here basically all year. Yeah, I don't know if any of you noticed.
Yeah.
So.
Well, in my understanding, it was a pretty competitive process. Like I said, probably over 80 people participated in it. Or Mr. Smith, do you want to add some comments to that?
Thank you, Mayor Cardenas. Nice to see you again. The Chamber of Commerce is really proud to have sponsored this competition, and we did have over 75 entries, and it was very difficult to choose. And our ultimate goal with all of this is not only did we pick this as the winning entry, it will ultimately, our hope is that it will be on a billboard coming from the east into El Centro, welcoming everyone to the city of El Centro from the, by the Chamber of Commerce in the Imperial Valley. And we used agriculture as a theme based on the fact that it's the largest industry in the valley. But it was difficult until we got down to the last 3 or 4, but Anna stood right out there and above everyone else's. So she did a great job. We're real proud of her.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Before we do have a certificate of recognition I'll be presenting, but I believe you have a pretty big support system here. Do you want to introduce your family?
Oh, yeah. Here is my mom and dad, Mr. Julio and Miss Lily Rodriguez. And back there I have my grandmother, and I have my brother, and also my loving aunt right here.
Yeah.
Yay.
I believe you have another aunt that's pretty popular here in
Yeah.
Imperial County. What is her name?
Miss Norma Sierra Galindo.
All right. And then the last thing I wanted to ask, what'd you do over the summer? My understanding is you were in New York?
Yes, I actually got accepted into the School of the New York Times because I'm, aside from art, I'm also very passionate about journalism. So I enrolled into the School of the New York Times, and I was lucky enough to have been able to go to New York and actually go to the New York Times and actually get one-on-one classes from people who actually work at the New York Times. So that was very exciting this summer.
You were in New York all by yourself?
Yes.
All right.
It was fun.
Well, I thought when I read her article, they had a real nice write-up in the Imperial Valley Press, and I just thought it'd be an excellent opportunity to showcase some of our talent here. And so to Mr. and Mrs. Rodriguez and Ms. Heidi Rodriguez and to Mrs. Rodriguez in the back, you have quite an amazing daughter, very articulate. Glad she's from El Centro. And then we also have the brand new principal here from Mr. Matt Phillips, Mr. Phillips from Southwest. So thank you for being here and supporting your students as well. So I'm going to go ahead and allow our council maybe to share any comments. Maybe I'll start with Councilmember Jackson.
Sure. Well, first I want to congratulate you and thank the mayor for bringing you up here. And it's always fun to showcase our youth. And I think that we've got some of the best youth than anybody can ask for. We've had some. We've really showcased the last few years some really great youth in our valley, and you're just part of that. So congratulations. Thank you to the family, because I think it's always important whenever we have a youth that's successful, you look back and you see the family that's that support group. So I think you're very fortunate. They're all here today to support you, so that shows a lot. So congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Councilmember Silva.
Likewise, congratulations, and this is amazing. But I'm not amazed because judging from your family, knowing your grandma for such a long time, and your parents, and your tias, and everyone, you have a great support structure that I think is going to allow you to be widely successful in whatever endeavors you tackle in your life. And so this is just another example of that. And I see a lot of symbolism within the picture that you drew. And I come to realize that in art, everything means something, even though sometimes we look at it and it just kind of looks nice, but there's something behind, there's a message behind your drawing. So I kind of noticed that the truck that you painted over on my left side, it looks like an old model vehicle. Why did you choose that? What's the symbolism behind that?
So I chose to put that kind of truck right there because I was looking at some pictures, and I kind of would see the migrant workers loading up the vegetables and the produce into that truck. So I really wanted to put that in there as kind of like representing that it kind of transports all over. It goes all throughout California. So I kind of wanted to use that as it's not only here in the Imperial Valley, but also the produce also goes out. So it's
Yeah, no, amazing work. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing it with us.
Thank you.
Excellent. Mayor Pro Tem?
Congratulations, Anna. This is amazing. And as Mr. Silva was saying, you've packed a lot of information that we can take out then. I did a presentation. Oh, that would get you fined so big in
At Rotary.
Rotary. like Mr. Silva was saying, there's so much here. I wanted to confirm, are those burrowing owls in the
Yes, I
corner?
could-
There we
yeah.
go. All right, yeah, just remarkable. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Councilmember Garcia?
Congratulations. There's a lot of information here. It definitely represents agriculture in the Imperial Valley. You covered a lot of bases. It looks like the competition was pretty stiff. I remember seeing all the poster boards up at the Chamber of Commerce mixer, and it was very stiff competition, and congratulations. Again, you have a great support group with your family, and I'm sure you'll do great things.
Thank you so much.
So, so again, quite a support system. Also want to recognize Central Union High School trustee, Miss Diana Reese, for being here and supporting as well. Thank you for being here. So with that being said, I'd like to read the certificate, and then we're going to come down for a picture. And Mom and Dad, you're welcome to be part of the picture as well. So I have a certificate of recognition. It says the City of El Centro, certificate of recognition presented to Ana Sofia Rodriguez for winning first place in the Imperial Valley Agricultural Poster Contest, which will be displayed on a billboard along Interstate 8. And that is signed on behalf of the mayor and behalf of our city manager and clerk and registered here with our city. So congratulations, and we're going to come down there and take a picture with you, okay?
Hey, thank you.
And she has a fan club. up there.
Phillips, you can come up, and then Mrs., if you want to be part of the picture as well, Ms. Garcia. Reese.
So they have my stuff.
Yes.
Okay, that should
So,
be good.
okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay, great. And looking at my camera first. Or like a principal. There we go. That looks good, you guys. Thank you. Excellent, thanks.
All right. We're going to stay standing here because I believe Mr. Oliva from Congressman Juan Vargas is here to finish as well.
I know you have a long agenda. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. My name is Tomas Oliva, and I represent Congressman Juan Vargas here in Imperial County. Ana, it's a pleasure to be here to congratulate you for your artwork. When your Tia introduced the artwork to our office, it essentially just kind of stated our identity right here in Imperial County. It has everything. As a policy wonk, I'm looking at that and I'm just thinking that's everything everybody in this room, all these elected officials advocate for on our behalf, right? We export energy, right? We're the largest renewable energy zone, I would argue, in Imperial County. We have largest water rights to the Colorado River. We export food year round. You encompassed everything about our identity in your artwork. And so I would just want to say, you chose a good one. Les. You chose a good one. So on behalf of the United States House of Representatives and the residents of the 51st Congressional District, I'd like to congratulate you on winning the El Centro Area Chamber of Commerce Agriculture Poster Contest. Your passion for the Imperial Valley and our desert landscape is reflective in your art and is commendable. We wish you many years of continued success. Congratulations.
Okay, well, thank you guys very much. And we do need to just watch the back door a little bit. There's some seats that have opened up, so if you guys want to take a chair up front here. Okay, moving on to item number 2. We have some special event sponsorship recognition, and I believe that got quite a bit of certificates here. And Ms. Piedra, do you want to kind of help us out in how we're going to distribute this, or?
Yes, we can, well, let me go ahead, I can go
Okay.
down and then maybe we can.
Yes. Okay, Ms. Piedra.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the council. First of all, I want to tell you that I really, really appreciate the support that we have received and we receive from our community. As you know, we offer throughout the year special events in our community, which are obviously well-attended, and we wouldn't be able to offer these type of events if it wasn't for not only the financial support, but the support that we get in terms of labor, advertising, you name it. There's a lot of support, as obviously is reflected in the recognitions or appreciations that we're going to give tonight. But I just want to say to the sponsors that we have, I know some of them are here, others are not. I just want to say that we thank them for their support throughout the years. Many of these sponsors have been with us for many years, and so it's certainly appreciated that they support our program. So we just are here to say thank you to them and obviously express the appreciation of our city. And with that, we can start with those certificates. So
Okay.
if you want to call them out, and we can call them up, and whichever way you want to handle it.
All right, I'm going to ask for my council support, so I'm going to give a bundle to Councilmember Edgar Garcia, a bundle to Mayor Pro Tem. I'm going to give a bundle here to,
There's quite a few.
and I'm going to give these to, there you go, there you go. All right, so just in regards to our sponsorship, you know, it's not easy to run, I've learned, it's not easy to run a municipality, especially when it comes to events, and you know, we do a really good job in promoting a lot of different events and throughout our city, but we couldn't do this without sponsorships support. So I do appreciate the compassion and the generosity and the philanthropy that you guys provide to our city to supplement these events, because we just cannot do this without your support. So to all of our signature sponsors, thank you again for being here and just being so generous. And I know staff, I know Ms. Zarate's back there who does a great job in soliciting sponsors and events. So thank you on behalf of this entire council. Thank you for helping us out and improving the quality of life of our community. So with that, before I call names, any other just comments in general in regards to our event sponsors? We're good? All right, Councilmember Jackson, you want to help me out here?
Sure. We got Black Hawk Broadcasting. Anybody from Black Hawk? Okay.
And Ms. Piedra, do you want them to come up, or do you want us to, how would you like for us to?
You know, the sponsor can come up, and then if you guys want
And
to.
then we'll take a group.
Okay, all right.
Group picture there.
There we go.
I know I see these guys in the back, the Ivy College Fire Academy.
All right, come on up, guys.
Imperial County Behavioral Health Services. Can't make it. And the Meadows Union School cafeteria staff. Nope, okay.
All right.
Thank you, Mayor, for the opportunity, and I'd like to see if Arlene Tavares is here.
There she is.
From SOMAS, Antoniette Sanchez. You here? From Hazard Construction, Brad, is it Lothers? Lothers.
All right.
With Imperial Printers, Vicky Garcia. With Molina Healthcare, Joanne Flores. With CRNR, Francisco Ochoa. You look like Victor Carrillo.
You look a little different.
Thank you. With Ivy Press, Marlene Rascon. You don't look like Marlene Rascon. Thank you, thank you. With Erickson Hall, Erica. With the gas company, Deborah McGarry.
Yay.
With the IBW 569, Daniel Machan.
Danny comes with a fan club too, I guess.
Yeah.
Thank you, Danny.
Thanks, Danny.
Mr. Mayor, I don't know if you planned this way, but I am going to award a very special certificate that, obviously, all the volunteers worked incredibly hard, but in this case, I got a firsthand testimony of the hours that were spent organizing the Dia de los Muertos, and thank you for this. This goes to my wife, Marcela Miranda Silva.
All right. Very good.
Perfect.
Thank you, yeah.
Brownie points.
All right. Councilmember Garcia?
Yes, first, let's see, let's start off with YK America. Do we have a representative from YK America here? Okay. About Alfred Distributing. So we're going to miss. Community Valley Bank? No. Okay. ECRMC?
Yay!
Thank you. And also, do we have a representative from the Imperial Valley Mall? No? Well, my stack was easy.
All right. Mayor Pro Tem.
All righty. How about Sun Community Federal Credit Union? Whoops. Oh, here we go. Kimley Horn. No, you don't get to pick up. Right. How about Coin Power Sports? Apparently, you kind of stacked the deck on the
I
other
know.
side there, mister. How about Metro PCs?
PCS.
PCS. I thought it was PCs. PCS? Pretty sure? It doesn't stand for pretty sure.
No, it does not stand for that.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
And I'll wrap it up. We have Entrevisión. Anybody here from Entrevisión? No. We also have Imperial County Board of Supervisors. Anybody here representing the Office of Imperial County Board of Supervisors? No. We'll give this to Mr. Kelly. And then last but not least, we got again Mr. Dan McChain. So if you can come on up from IBEW, get two. Yeah. So with that, do we want to try to get a picture, or what do you think, Marcela? All right, so then we'll meet you guys down. If you guys can go ahead and come on up, we'll get a picture here.
You guys show all these beautiful pictures where it looks like it's about 50 degrees.
Hopefully our next one will have Centro landmarks. That's our goal.
Yeah, there's a panorama setting, so I can find it. Yeah, here it is, panorama.
one's for the union, and one is for you personally. Okay, good, okay. We thought maybe. Is it good? Okay.
Okay, I just sent you the picture.
Thank you guys for hanging in there. We got one more great presentation, and that's item number 3. Actually, July is National Parks Month, so I do have a proclamation that I would like to share, and I think Ms. Dolores, you want to come on up and have a proclamation here that you can accept. But July 2017, this is National Parks Month, so I do have a proclamation that I'd like to share. So I'm going to ask Ms. Dolores to come up to the podium, and I'm going to go ahead and read this proclamation. And I think she brought some friends with her too. That I'm not here if they're here for the cannabis item or something else, but we'll figure it out here.
They're bodyguards.
Okay.
That works.
But again, July is National Parks Month, and the city of El Centro has proclaimed this within our city. So I'd like to start off by reading this proclamation, and there's some interesting guys right behind you as well. So
yes, and he has some words for the council and the mayor.
okay, so before I read the proclamation, we have some guests here, and I think you guys have some comments or something you want to share.
Oh, yes. Good day, Mr. Mayor and City Council. Hello. My name is Uday Uclea, the leader of Uclaixtan, and the supreme athlete of Desert Pro Wrestling. Introduce yourself. And this, my good friend, is...
Calavera.
I can't pronounce that. July 22nd, right here in El Centro, California. You can see me, and you can see... Stay up here, man. It's a party. Performing on Desert Pro Wrestling. Who will you be facing, my good man? Lucky. He doesn't know. I will be wrestling and facing my one enemy. Okay, count to 10. Yes. The crime fighter of insects, Super Beetle. Exactly. And we all welcome everyone. The citizens of El Centro should come out to this show. It's family friendly, all ages. The kids will love it. The kids will love it. And we want to see all of your faces there too, council members. Wouldn't you agree?
Definitely. We would like to invite all of you, family, friends, all ages. It's very family oriented. Also, I'm one of the students from the first official wrestling school that we got here in the valley. I've been going to attending the school for a year and a half now, and it's very life-changing. We're trying to support the valley to, take our young ones to have that dedication, to get into the sport. I know some people may say, well, it's very violent and this and that, but it's actually entertainment. It's entertainment. We're here to promote staying healthy, eating well, going to the gym, having those extracurricular activities, after school, having besides soccer and basketball and all of that, we got pro wrestling here in the valley, and just come by, take everybody. We're gonna have some information there in one of the booths. We're gonna have some face painting there too, and we're gonna have some snacks, and we're gonna be promoting there, and hopefully we can entertain everybody there.
Excellent. So can we get the dates and the time again and when this event's going to take place?
July 22nd in El Centro. I believe at 6 o'clock? 6 o'clock. Great time.
And location?
Doors open at 5:30. Where is it located?
It's at the 770 Parkway, here by the Pavilion Building. It's gonna be in there in one of the soccer, what's it called? Thank you. It's gonna be indoors. It's gonna be really fresh. Like we mentioned, we're gonna have snacks in there, and it's gonna be inside of one of the buildings there. So.
What's the address again?
The 770 Park. By the pavilion.
The sports pavilion.
Yes.
All right.
And I hope to see all of you there. Mayor, I'm coming for you after this.
For me? Well, I'll tell you what, if you're gonna come for me, I'm gonna get a tag team partner. Maybe I'm gonna bring Councilmember Edgar Garcia with me. And I tell you what, between, we'll have our princess here, our showgirl, and then Councilmember, myself and Councilmember Garcia will take you guys on in a tag team match.
Oh. So, we should now leave the floor. But again, everybody should come. You're gonna love it, I swear.
All right, well, thanks for coming in. Well, no, I do appreciate everything that Parks and Recs does, and this is a pioneering event for our city. I know we're sponsoring it, and so thank you again for being here and the invitation, and I believe we're gonna have some fun this Saturday night, so hopefully you guys can make it. So with that being said, I do wanna read this proclamation. I'll be real brief about it. It's Parks and Recs Month, July 2017, City of El Centro Proclamation. It says Parks and Recreation programs are an integral part of our community, and they establish better quality of life for individuals. And parks and recreational programs build healthy, active communities that are in the prevention of chronic diseases, child obesity, and provide therapeutic and recreational services. And the City of El Centro offers programs that include youth at risk, people with intellectual and physical disabilities, and Parks and Recs areas provide inspiration for nature and for outdoor spaces, as well as help preserve and protect the historical, natural, and cultural resources of our community. City of El Centro encourages residents to recognize the benefits derived from Parks and Rec services and resources, including all youth sports programs, enrichment programs such as music, art, dance, exercise, at city facilities. Now, therefore, I, Alex Cardenas, Mayor of the City of El Centro, State of California, do hereby proclaim July 2017 as Parks and Recreation Month here in the City of El Centro. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and present this proclamation to you. Thank you for bringing our buddies down, and we'll be working on a match here between tag team match, maybe me.
Yes, you can't leave out a call. You've been called out.
All right. I'll start on my diet. But let me go ahead and give you this here, and thank you. Thank you, Dolores. Excellent. Thank you, and thank you, Ms. Piedra, and everybody, and Pat. Everybody does a great job. Okay, thank you. So moving down to, Mr. Smith's still here, and I wanted to bring him up on behalf of the chamber. I know that he's due for his monthly report. So Mr. Les Smith, past president for the El Centro Chamber, come on up, sir.
Thank you, Mayor Cardenas and other council members. In May, when I was here and said goodbye, I didn't know I'd be back this soon, but President Jeff Sturdivant is away on vacation. He will be out for a couple of weeks, so he asked me to fill in tonight. I basically just am going to give a more of a statement than a report on behalf of the Board of Directors from the Chamber of Commerce and Executive Board. On behalf of the El Centro Chamber of Commerce and the local business community, we would like to ask the City Council to reprioritize how the council may use Measure P money. We realize that while promoting Measure P, the City Council assured the citizens of El Centro that Measure P money would go toward building infrastructure and not towards wages and salaries. However, in view of budget cuts that have been put in place, the Chamber would like to suggest putting a new library, police station, and more parks temporarily on hold. We don't have any intent to want to eliminate that or anything. We just ask for some consideration. We ask this in lieu of going after bond money and putting the city in large debt. The Chamber would like to see the city put part of Measure P money into an account to be used for future building, and part of the money used to grow public safety and other quality of life programs with Parks and Recreation and other city departments. Hopefully, the city can partner with Imperial County Department of Education to help with their efforts of building a sports complex out on McCabe Road. They will be maintaining the complex and offer its use to the entire county. This should take pressure off the city of El Centro and the urgent need to build new parks. The Chamber would be very happy to partner with the city to hold a series of meetings with community members to get a more accurate feel for how the community would like to see Measure P money utilized. The Chamber has heard from many of its members expressing these concerns, especially in regard to public safety. Looking back on then Mayor Silva's Vision 2050 plan, I recall a common priority of the residents of El Centro at that time was first and foremost to improve public safety. I realize that these are not easy decisions to make or easy questions to answer. However, we simply would greatly appreciate your consideration on these matters. Don't shoot the messenger.
No, any, before I ask Mr. Smith, or any other questions, any just general questions, comments? All right. Well, we appreciate the message and appreciate the Chamber coming forward and sharing their comments and definitely taking into consideration.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, moving down to scheduled public comment. I don't see our chief here, but I do see our commander here. So regarding item number 4, that's ECPD, and we have a new employee introduction.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. I'm proud to here today to stand before you and actually be able to introduce the newest member of our team. Ms. Brittany Watson has actually been hired as our newest public safety dispatcher. Ms. Watson is an El Centro resident. She was born and raised here, went through our school system, and she's actually currently attending IVC. She came very highly recommended, and she has a lot of support from her family. So she has an arduous training program in front of her, but she's excited to get started. So Ms. Watson, can you sit up, please?
Hello. I would just like to thank the City of El Centro for the opportunity. I'm truly appreciative, and I'm excited for what's to come.
Thank you. You know, I'll just real briefly just share that, you know, we appreciate our chief has made it a tradition to introduce new employees, and it's just so important that we get to know who you are. I've done a little bit of background and search on you, and I'm really excited about this hire, and I believe you have some experience working with Gold Cross.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we're just great to have you on the A team here. So
Thank you so much.
I'll open up to any comments from the council. Maybe I'll start with Councilmember Garcia.
Welcome to the City of El Centro. I mean, it's we have a great department. Look forward to you working together with the team, and hopefully find a good, fruitful career here. Welcome.
I always find it interesting when we have talented young people like yourself come into such a demanding career. So I just want to wish you well and thank you for choosing City of El Centro.
Thank you.
Councilmember Silva.
Congratulations as well, and I think for Mayor Walker also mentioned it's a career. We hope that this is a career for you. And it was mentioned that you go to IVC. What are you studying? If I can ask you that question, you're nursing. Awesome, awesome. So she, Kathy's happy. So congratulations.
Application.
Yeah, congratulations and
Don't take her
welcome.
too fast. We just got her. Congratulations. Thank you for choosing El Centro, and look forward to having you on board and take care of our men and women out there and that provide safety and everything for our city. So it's a very important job, and I'm glad that you're stepping up for it. So.
Thank you so much.
And just kind of wrapping things up, this is a great hire, Commander. Thank you for picking the best qualified candidates. And again, welcome to our family. And don't be a stranger.
Thank you. Nice to meet you all.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Commander. Okay. We're going to go ahead and move down to the consent item. And I believe, Miss Betsy, I do need to do something, right?
Yes, Mayor, if you could add an item. If we could make the item to be added 11A and make the cannabis discussion 11B, we would be adding a resolution. Resolution of the City Council of the City of El Centro establishing the compensation and employment terms for the position of city engineer.
Okay.
That can be added, and before we move on to 11A, when you reach that, you do have a statement in front of you to read.
Okay. And so we're going to go ahead and add that. Do I have a, okay, we have it here electronically, or do you want me to do it orally?
Electronically, it's fine.
I'm sorry?
You can use electronically. You
Okay.
can vote.
So at this point, I'll entertain a motion. We have a motion from Councilmember Jackson, second from Mayor Pro Tem Villegas Walker. We'll go ahead and vote. And
Edgard's not coming up.
got it.
Vote in progress, I don't have anything.
No, it says Facebook on it.
What? You want, let's try it again. Let's cancel that, if you don't mind, and
Okay.
does it come up, Mr. Garcia?
No.
Want to see what it looks like? We may have to log you back in. You can use your hands.
Okay, so this time I do have a motion from Councilmember Jackson, second from Mayor Pro Tem Vegas Walker. At this point, we'll go ahead and call the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Successfully added. Moving down to consent items, and that's items 7 through 10. I do have an item that I do want to pull, but I believe Councilmember Silva also. Are we going to pull the same item?
Yes, and for Mike, in my case, it's just I will be abstaining from voting on this matter. I live in real close proximity to Plank Park, so I'll be stepping outside while the discussion takes place. Let me just remind the council that it's 110 degrees outside.
All right. So outside of item number 8, does any other council member wish to pull an item? And I should have told you in advance, I apologize, Ms. Piedra, regarding item number 8. So with that being said, I'd entertain a motion to approve the consent items. That's item number 5, 6, 7, 9, and 10. Have a motion from Councilmember Jackson, second from Efrain Silva. We'll go ahead and vote.
I'm sorry.
And that is adopted 5-0. Perfect. Just in regards to item number 8, and actually, they're just comments in general. Oh, yes. And I'm sure, Abraham, who would be maybe speaking towards item number 8?
We can certainly, Mayor, either Mr. Campos or myself can answer any questions you may have.
Right. And again, just real briefly, I do want to thank you for, number one, putting it on the our city council agenda for July. And I know I've been in discussions with Ms. Piedra just on the timeline. And again, very comprehensive backup. I just wanted the assurance that we'll be turning some dirt before the end of 2017. Mr. Campos, are we pretty comfortable that we'll be turning some dirt over there in that side of the city?
Definitely. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and council members. Yes, the project is on schedule. We have the full plans and specs, which is what we are asking for approval tonight. We are anticipating putting this out to bid in the next week or so you should see it in the paper and in the bid rooms coming up. And the schedule, as per in the agenda report, has us awarding the contract in September, so dirt will be moving late September.
Okay, perfect. I know that the citizens on that side of town are pretty excited about it. I saw that they provided some input. Just any general.
Is this part of a presentation?
We have a presentation for you. We can go through that.
Yeah, we can do that.
So just for those not familiar with the site, it's located on the west side of town, just north of Ross Avenue, along Plank Drive, so hence the name Plank Park, and east of Austin, west of those Drive. The two subdivisions that are in our area are Desert Village West and Wildflower. The park is outlined in red. So we spoke about a little bit of the schedule right now, and we have completed design, and we're here to award not to award, but to approve the plans and specifications for advertising. Just talking about some of the park elements, we're talking about a playground equipment. It'll have an 18-foot by 18-foot shade topper on it. We have the shades on the playground and the trees. We have a concrete sidewalk, benches, trash cans, a decomposed granite trail, a 12-foot high area lighting around the playground and turf area. Very soft rolling hills, 2 to 3 feet high. We don't want to hide anybody behind them. And the playground on the bottom will have wood fiber surfacing. So in general, you're looking at the site. Planka Road would be to your right of the screen, then Wesley on the bottom. The circle in green is the turf area. Just to the left of it is the smaller circle is the playground equipment that will have shades. And then the larger arcs around the site are the decomposed granite pathways. So we briefly spoke about the schedule. We'll have the contract back to council for award on September 18, of September of 2017, and the council meeting corresponding. And we anticipate completion by March of 2018. So the project is not complete. Obviously, there's some areas that will receive very minimal turf areas or no turf areas at all. So we have applied together, thanks to the Community Development Department, to urban greening grant. That's for an additional $648,000. We expect to hear back from that grant on any results later this year in the fall, which would expand the turf areas and equipment related to the project.
Mr. Campos, who's that funding source? Who's urban greening?
That's a state grant, if I recall.
Is it a state grant or a nonprofit group or what?
Yes, urban forestry.
The Department of Urban Forestry or something? Okay, thank you.
So our current budget is. Yes.
So in taking this, the grant into consideration, is the design for the park built in such a way with phased, so that if we do get that grant, then we can come in behind it and utilize that for the second phase?
Correct. So we would have to amend the contract for design and amend it, but the current layout already is flexible enough to allow for the added growth. That is a discussion point that was brought up with the consultant. The consultant actually participated in the creation of the grant.
Good. All right.
Our current budget for the project is 517. 445,000 is being allocated for the construction, and this is in park development fees. Any questions?
No, again, go ahead, Mayor Pro Tem.
No, I'm really excited as to how quickly staff was able to prioritize this project and get it funded. I think that all of us felt a sense of responsibility to move that park forward ASAP, given that it was on the plans and certain milestones had been reached. So we really appreciate staff coming together quickly. The outreach to the community, I think, has been very successful in terms of managing expectations. Really appreciate the forward thinking in terms of the incremental progress, and we'll just have our fingers crossed that the grant funding comes through.
Excellent. Any other comments? I do want to thank Ms. Piedra again for helping me out and making sure, or helping the community out and staying on top of this. Thank you again for your help, and thanks to staff. All right. With that being said, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion to, well, we're going to be voting on item number 8, which is discussion necessary action regarding Plank Park Road improvement plans. And we do have a motion from Councilmember Jackson, second by Councilmember Garcia. We'll go ahead and vote. And that item carries 4-0 with Councilmember Silva abstaining. So motion carries. Thank you. And then we'll bring back Mr. Silva. And very good. And we'll go ahead and move down to item number 11A, and I do apologize, I forgot to read a comment in advance regarding some decorum on public comment. So can I ask our city clerk to go ahead and read a statement regarding public comment, and then I have to read another statement right after that.
This is a public hearing. If there's an item on the agenda on which you wish to be heard, you're asked to complete a blue speaker slip and submit it to the city clerk prior to the start of the meeting. Persons wishing to address the council, successor agency, to the redevelopment agency, or the successor housing agency are not required to identify themselves. However, this information assists the mayor by ensuring that all persons wishing to address the council are recognized, and also assists the city clerk in preparing the city council meeting minutes. When the item is announced and your name is called by the mayor, please step to the podium and state your name for the record. Unless the mayor extends the time, there is a 3-minute time limit for each public presentation. If you wish to address the council, successor agency, to the redevelopment agency, or the housing agency concerning any other matter not appearing on the agenda, you may do so during the public comment portion of the agenda.
Thank you, Diane. And before I go into new business and unfinished business, I do have a statement that I would like to read, and it's dated July 18, 2017, Mayor's Statement before budget item. Regarding the resolution for the Deputy City Engineer position, I need to publicly announce that last fall, Governor Brown signed legislation requiring the City Council to orally report a summary of any City Council action regarding salaries, salary schedules, or fringe benefits for any executive managers which include the position. Accordingly, before the City Council this evening is a resolution that will include a salary and benefit package for the person holding that position. Yes, ma'am. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and move down to item number 10, and that's in regards to approval of a,
No, it's wrong.
11A.
11A.
We've already done 10.
oh, I'm sorry. So in regards to item number 11A, it's, we're going to go ahead and go under unfinished business, and that's discussion and/or action on permitting and regulating of commercial medicinal cannabis activities in the city. And we do have a presentation from our planning director, Norma Villacana.
We gotta do A first. We're doing Abraham's first.
Norma,
I'm blowing it.
let's do the resolution first because I think it'll be quicker.
Okay. So with that being said, I do have back to 11A, which is in regards to the item that we added. We're going to go ahead and vote on that. I do have a motion from Councilmember Jackson.
Is that to this?
And I have a second from Councilmember Efrain Silva. We'll go ahead and vote. And that item is adopted 5-0. Thank you. Thanks for your patience on that. It's hard when it's not on the agenda. Very good. So now we're going to move down to item 11B, and that's in regards to discussion and/or action on permitting and regulating commercial municipal cannabis activities in the city. And we do have a presentation from our planning director, Ms. Villacana.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the council. As you may recall, this item was continued from the last council meeting in June. And the reason to continue this item was to allow staff to go back and review just the previously approved amendments to the regulations. With the assistance of the city attorney, we've done that, and it's included in your staff report.
Norma, one addition. We also have prepared for you and can give out copies or send them to you of the 5 bills that are pending that would amend SB 94. 5? I can read it to you if you'd like.
What's the scope of those proposed modifications?
The scope of those bills ranges from a rather simple bill that allows trademarking of cannabis products because federal trademarks can't be used since the use remains illegal under federal law, to some simple tax ones. The one that's most important to us is another bill by Bonta, who's the author of SB 94, which provides that you don't have to have separate premises for medicinal, basically a medicinal retail use and a recreational retail use. You could now put it on the same premises. However, we did check with Bonta's office this afternoon, and they've indicated that that does not mean that you could not ban, if you chose to do so, recreational uses and allow medicinal. At that point, the person operating your retail use would only have what's called an M license.
And I apologize, I made copies and I believe I left them in my office. We'll send it out to you. But this is the latest of the latest, so it's something that...
moving target.
It's a moving target. There's a couple of things that I want to just bring up, and basically what we're asking is for further direction from the council as to how we can proceed. And there's different options as noted in your staff report. But just to break it down, there's many types of licenses. And if the city council wants to, wishes to just proceed with the medicinal retail sales of marijuana, then that would require a type M license. So basically, in preparing our ordinance, we would only permit type M licenses. The other type of licenses that we need to consider, whether it's going to be just for retail sales, or is it going to be distribution, or the type 12 license, which could be a micro business, which basically has everything: distribution, cultivation, and sales. So those are the things that we need to consider. Also, these are included in the staff report, but another item that needs to be considered is how many permits, if we're going to allow medicinal retail commercial activities, how many permits. Everything I've read, and I believe the league is recommending 1 permit per 15,000 in population. So that would basically say we have maybe 2-3 permits, if that's something that you want to pursue. Also, are we going to allow cannabis events properly licensed within the city, from the state within the city? And those could be like, I know there's other cities that have tried that, where they have like a farmer's market, or something where, cannabis products are basically sold, or, So those are the things that we need to consider. But if the council wants just to stay with the medicinal retail sales, then obviously that, I don't know if that would be something you would want to move forward. In essence, after we receive direction from council, what we're going to do is, if we need to, we've also reviewed the previous ordinance back in 2011, if you recall, and we believe that obviously we're going to have to update that ordinance because there's a lot of more regulations now in place. Right. But we could use that as a template and move forward. And also another item that needs to be considered, whether you want them, those type of uses in commercial or light industrial areas. And another thing that needs to be done as part of the process is we need to go back and update our fee structure that we had put in place back in 2011 to consider the additional tasks that the city's going to be doing, and maybe increase police enforcement. So we would work together with the police department and come up with an updated fee schedule. And that would be part of the ordinance that would come back to you. So if we...
Norma, before you go, I don't remember if you mentioned it the last time we met or within one of our discussions, but I seem to recall that even within medicinal dispensaries, that's someone could still be able to buy cannabis there even without a medical license, but they just would be subject to additional fees or taxes or some other structure. Do I recall that correctly?
Well, there was a little bit of confusion as to whether medicinal and recreational uses could be sold within the same dispensary. And I think with the new legislation that's moving forward, we got clarification that the city could, if the city wants to, they could only allow medicinal. Okay. Now, it's everything I've read and everything we've researched, it seems like it's being incorporated, medicinal and recreational, because now medicinal, the state is not requiring the ID cards anymore. Basically, what you would need for medicinal use is maybe a letter from your doctor stating that cannabis is it's something that you could use for medicinal purposes, but there's no requirement from the state to have the state ID cards anymore. So it's very more lax. So I could see how it could move forward to, to recreational uses with time. I don't know.
Okay. Thank you, Norma.
So, and lastly, this is just a very rough tentative schedule, but if whatever direction we receive tonight from the council, if it is to move forward and draft an ordinance, this is what we're looking at. Maybe having a public workshop next month, late next month, taking it to Planning Commission in September, and then October and November, City Council will review the ordinance and hopefully have it in place by December of this year.
The only thing that troubles me about the schedule in this Via Caña is that late August, when, you know, folks are really focused on getting kids back to school and, you know, the Labor Day holiday and all of that, if we could
There
have
is
the
some
public, yeah, if there's some flexibility with regard to the public workshop and maybe having that in early September rather than the end of August, I think that we would be much more successful in getting
That
people
could be
to turn
done.
out.
Yeah, that could be done.
I believe, how many comments, or do we have quite a bit of comments as it relates to this item?
We have three.
So I'm gonna come back to council. Do you guys want to reserve your comments, and do we want to take public comment first, and then we'll come back?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other information, Ms. Villacaña?
That's all I have.
Okay. So at this point, I'm gonna open this up for public comment, and our city clerk will go ahead and call you by name, and you can approach the podium and share your comments. So we are ready, Ms. Diane.
Francisco Andrade.
I do want to encourage that we try to keep our comments to under 3 minutes.
Yes.
Yes,
Hello.
sir.
Hello, Honorable Mayor and Honorable Council Member and City Manager. It's me again, Francisco Andrade. We met in the past. Well, I know you have a lot of busy work ahead of you regarding cannabis, but I'm encouraging you all folks to vote yes in the cannabis because we all want to work. We're here because we're looking for work besides where we're working at. And there wouldn't be no problem regarding cannabis and parenting. We had a discussion a while back. If there's good parenting, there wouldn't be no problem with cannabis and the parents, right? And regarding to Mr. Jason Jackson, when it comes to, there's going to be more legislative paperwork coming through Sacramento, our lobbyists and our local lobbyists here, who's going to be voting to, in other words, to liberate this plant more. Pretty soon, in the near future, there's going to be a chance that we could work while being on cannabis, but we will get fired for being lazy. But in the near future, that will come. And regarding Mr. Garcia and Mr. Cardenas and Silva, it's all about jobs, jobs, jobs. Each permit that you offer, if the person, the employer is not stingy, he will gladly offer 5, 6, 7, 8 employees or more, you know, and it will help. And if this cannabis industry does roll good, we could help the community here in El Centro and beyond, you know, like referring to the whole county. And like I did mention a while back, I was going to create a cannabis coalition, which I did. It's called Imperial County Hemp Cannabis Coalition. It's for the people and for whoever wants to get involved in the industry, from micro businesses and to commercial. And I'm here eager in presenting myself to give our local residents an opportunity so other big corporate won't come into the city, into the county, like what happened in Calexico. I don't have nothing against Trinity Farms, but I did an outreach and they never reached back to me, and I was just concerned regarding what they're going to do for the city, because it's not regarding about funds and money, it's regarding about our community. And more, I'm a parent, right? So my daughter, for the last 3 years, every semester, she's been getting honor rolls. She had an opportunity to meet the superintendent for the Office of Education, for her education and for her knowledge. So that makes me a good parent. And there's more to say, but I'll cut it short. And I'm just here for the community and to advise you folks. And I did warn you guys this was going to go through. And I want to make this a smart so we can all have an opportunity to go forward with this. And you all know cannabis doesn't lead to domestic violence, and cannabis doesn't lead to animal cruelty. Thank you.
Okay. Next speaker, Ms. Diane.
Marcy Morales.
Hello, good evening. My name is Marcy Morales. I am here on behalf of my husband and I, who currently own and operate Head Stash Cooperative. We're a local medicinal delivery service here in Imperial County. We currently work with local sports organizations, for example, Sparta Boxing, where we donate funds, as well as we currently reached out to the Cancer Research Center of the Desert, and they are very interested in working with us. They are absolutely excited about it. We, of course, I know in the past the subject has come up about taxes, among other subjects. Yes, we pay sales tax every year. We also hire local drivers, currently 2, but we look to grow in the future. Right now, we're one of, I believe there's, don't quote me, but approximately 22-ish delivery services, and we're one of those. We're really excited about your decision here in El Centro. We've been attending all the other city council meetings as well too, as well as with the Board of Supervisors. And I know a couple of you have known me since I was, kindergarten and above. And, we're local, born and raised in El Centro. My parents, my family, my husband and his family. We love the city, we love the county, and we really look forward to being able to continue to provide for our local patients. Again, this is just on the medicinal end of it, not the recreational end of it at all. So hopefully this kind of helps you guys put another face behind the industry. If there's any questions, feel free to let us know. We also reached out to local law enforcement, and we look forward to working with them as well too, so that this industry isn't taboo and looked upon as negative, because it shouldn't be. It's absolutely very positive. I currently, obviously, do not consume, mother of 2 and another on the way, but I am a huge advocate of medical marijuana, absolutely, because I see the positive that it does for people.
Can I ask you a question? So the recommendation from Mr. Garcia and I to the council is to allow for medicinal cannabis dispensaries and not allow recreational. What's your thought in regards to that recommendation, and would not allowing recreational dispensaries have an impact on our community or the distribution of cannabis? I'm not.
My personal opinion, I see the absolute medical positive aspect of cannabis, of marijuana. The recreational end of it, I tend to look at it like it would be, it's a personal preference, really. Like somebody can choose to smoke tobacco or consume alcohol. However, on the medical aspect, we have patients all across the board, from people who are terminally ill with cancer, people with PTSD, all across the board. So I absolutely see the positive side of the medical aspect. The recreational, I kind of withhold my opinion on that just because it's just my opinion. But the medical aspect, absolutely. Definitely. I think it would be a tragedy to not allow people to receive that, medicine.
Thank you.
Sure. Any questions?
No,
I think we're good for
Excuse me,
Councilmember
yeah,
Jackson.
one question. Currently, you're delivering, your service delivers in the city of El Centro. Is that correct?
Into El Centro?
Yes.
Yes.
So any action or inaction by this council really doesn't affect the medical marijuana industry as far as home delivery. Would you say that that's probably a true statement?
I don't understand the question. How would that not affect?
So if this council were to take action to not allow any
storefronts,
yeah,
brick and mortar building.
yes, or any kind of retail or commercial medical marijuana or marijuana period in the city of El Centro, it doesn't affect the ability of your patients or the patients that are being served by the other delivery services at all, as far as being able to maintain that home delivery that you're currently doing right now?
Right offhand, I wouldn't see where it would, but that's a person's preference if they prefer to walk into a building as opposed to delivery to their door. Again, that's up to the patient's choice.
It'd be a
yeah.
fair statement to say that people that are needing the medicinal marijuana for treatment of whatever ailment they have the ability to get it through a home delivery service such as your own or the other 21 that are currently delivering in the valley.
True. No, then yes, I do agree with you. However, the additional positive side to having a storefront or actual dispensary would be absolutely there'd be more employment. I mean, you would be looking at, security guards, you would be looking at, because you would need a building, obviously. You're talking about local electricians, plumbers. I mean, the list could go on and on for employment purposes. Where it affects the patient, I'm not sure. I don't really want to speak for them on that side, but for employment purposes and in assisting the city in permitting and building and inspecting, and I would see where the storefront would be very positive for not just people who are patients, but people who would be a part of that building. Like I said, any of those industries who that would touch.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you very much.
Ralph Colasso.
Good evening, Ralph Colazzo, 638 Silverwood, Imperial, California. I'm a fourth generation farmer / labor contractor here in the Imperial County. I've also dabbled in the medical cannabis industry for the last 10 years. I went to school for it at 18 years old in Oakland, California at Oaksterdam. Took it under the wing of some of the best medical cannabis minds and activists here in the state of California. Some of the likes of Jack Herrera, Richard Lee, Ed Rosenthal, the list goes on and on. To answer Mr. Jackson's question, if you did ban it outright, yes, it would affect us as delivery services to be able to bring medicine here into the city, if you did ban it. To answer Mr. Silva's question about the stance between medical and recreational, I believe before you can run, you must be able to walk. And before you walk, you must be able to crawl. And the city hasn't really embraced a medical dispensary yet or retail stores. So I don't believe the county in total is ready for recreational use because we haven't really set up any guidelines for medical. I mean, there was a store here in 2008 called Remidex that was set up here in the city of El Centro on 5th Street. And it was set up as a medical supply store. And in the back, it was actual medical cannabis store. And it was shut down, I believe, in late 2008. And I mean, right now, as a county, as the patient network here in the county, we're looking for a safe haven to be able to buy and distribute, even to acquire our medicine, because in the city of Calexico, they put a ban on retail. The city of Brawley has recently adopted a ban. The city of Imperial has, I think they're only going to allow CBD products in the city of Imperial to be distributed. So as a patient network and as an advocate, I would strongly urge you guys to pass this or put something up for people to be able to acquire their medicine here in the city, because it would be very, very big. And going back to the, is it Norma? Norma said about the festivals. We are currently trying to work with the city of Imperial and the fairgrounds to hopefully host a festival by the end of this year, hopefully by the end of beginning of next year, possibly, to bring in a couple hip hop artists, maybe possibly Sublime, some type of like a music festival, and have vendors and have the local industry get together and have like a music festival where we would charge entry, charge booth fees, and all the money would go back towards, at least 50% of it would go back towards Meals on Wheels, children's lunches in school. I mean, I have a child in school in Brawley right now, and he's explained to me that sometimes if you don't pay for your lunches, and when you go in, you're qualified under your parents' income, and if you don't pay your lunch bill, and it goes up over a certain amount, that you are separated from your classmates and given a bottle of water and a granola bar. I think that no child, whether you grew up on the east side eating carne asada or you grew up on the west side eating strip steak, New York strip, you shouldn't go without a hot meal at lunch. I don't care, because in a valley with abundance of agriculture, beef plants, etc., no child should go without a hot lunch, like I said. And once again, I'd like to thank all the city council members and everybody here in attendance for the talk on this, and being able to open up about this is very good for the Imperial Valley. And like I said, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Are we done? Okay. Anybody else that wishes to be heard regarding this item? Being that there's nobody else, I'm going to go ahead and bring this back to council. And I guess ultimately we are looking at providing direction to staff in terms of moving forward with this situation. So who wants to start in regards to just any general comments as it relates to this?
I'll go ahead and start.
Councilmember Jackson?
I'll reaffirm my stance on I'll reaffirm my stance on marijuana in the city of El Centro. I do, as I've stated before, do see a benefit to the medicinal use, but and I guess I was trying to get my point across with the young lady, is that people I've talked to that are using medicinal marijuana have been getting it through home delivery services for years. And nothing we have done at the city level or lack thereof has stopped that. And I'm not proposing that we stop that or we get in the way of people that truly need the medicinal marijuana. I think that I think we've had many testimonials from individuals throughout our community that, and the science backs it up, that there is certainly a benefit to certain ailments for people that need it. So I'm not against that part. What I am against is storefronts, retail, recreational. I just think that, we as a city have done so much to try to move forward, and I think that to open it up to a retail, to a storefront situation, is just a step backwards. And interestingly enough, is we're not alone in this, in coming to this conclusion. All of our sister cities, including Calexico at this point, has put a ban on retail and storefront. Imperial, Brawley, I'm not sure what the county's trying to do but I think they're more doing the cultivation side. But I think when we talk about this, we all have a place in our heart for the people that need it for the medicinal side. So I don't propose that we stop that. But moving forward, I don't see what benefit we have to our city or to our residents, for that matter, to allow storefront, recreational, on and on and on. The tax and the fees and all the things that people propose that are a positive for our city, we have to look at the fact that all that's going to go in one door and out the other in trying to increase public safety to deal with the negatives that product brings to the city. You look at cities like in Colorado, you look at cities up in Oregon and all these places where they've allowed it. Study after study after study, you've got police chiefs, you've got mayors, you have people that were proponents of it, have now stepped back and said, you know what, if we had this to do over again, we would have done it differently. So I think what we have to look at is we look at the people that have gone down this road before us and have certainly suffered for it, Denver, Seattle, these places. And we look at that and we say, look, why are we going to do the same thing that other people have done and they've failed at? The cost benefit is not truly there. The return on investment, all these things that the proponents have spoken on, is really just kind of a red herring. And so I'm still going to vote for absolutely no medical marijuana or no medical. I keep saying medical. No marijuana as far as the retail, storefronts. If we want to look at language for the delivery to allow, and I understand that, and you sound like you've got a lot of background in this area. What have you seen in other cities, and if maybe you can come back up and answer this question, in the way of allowing and not hindering the delivery part of the medicinal marijuana? Is there cities out there that have done something to structure that?
Oakland's one of them. Oakland, when it began, they began as a delivery service system, and they quickly adopted an ordinance in the city for a storefront, mainly because the city's so big. Another reason is you can only handle so many deliveries in a day, depending on how many drivers you have. Zoning issues. I mean, when you're given an address, you don't know if you're going into a safe haven. You don't know if you're going in. I mean, for instance, say somebody's suffering from cancer in the hospital and they need CBD oil and they haven't eaten a week. Am I protected by taking that CBD oil into the hospital for them to drink it so that they can eat and survive? No, I'm not protected. They're not protected by getting it from me. From law enforcement, yeah, because CBD is naturally, and it is now accepted federally, but what protection do we have? There's no guidelines here in the county. And that's what we're urging, whether you allow storefront, whether you allow retail, whether you even just allow deliveries, just give us some type of guidelines, give us some type of zoning issues, give us some type of ordinance so that we're protected, not only that the patient is protected, to make it safe, access to safe medicine at a safe rate. That's my motto. Out of sight, out of mind. And another city that you could use is Adelanto, California, as a reference. A city in Colorado you can use is Trinidad, Colorado, which is, I believe it's in the southernmost part of Colorado, shares the New Mexico border, kind of like how we share a border with Mexico. Like I said, the thing that we want as a network is we want to be protected. We want to know that we're doing something under guidelines and not only that our money is going to the right place if we pay an excise tax, if we pay state, local, and county taxes. You know, is the money going to Mills and Wheels? Is the money going to fixing the roads? Is the money going to schools? Is the money going to where it needs to go? To, I believe it's the general fund, if I'm not mistaken. But is any more questions?
No, and I appreciate your comment about you have to crawl before you.
Oh yeah,
walk.
and that's the big thing about here in the Valley is these guidelines for medical have been in place since 1996. They were adopted in 2000 after Jack Herrera and his other constituents wrote the SB 420 and Proposition 215. And we as a county have never really grabbed a hold of it and set guidelines and adopted it and, you know, messed with it. Like the city of San Diego, even city of San Diego, County Riverside, San Bernardino County, every county throughout the state of California has grabbed it and done, you know, ordinanced it to fit their county, and we never have. And now Prop 64 is being passed, and everybody's like, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on here in the Valley? Because we've never really even adopted medical. So like I said, between me and you, Mr. Jackson, I don't believe the city of El Centro or the county in particular is ready for recreational cannabis, because we've adopted medical and we've done a little bit here and there, scratch the surface, but we're not ready for recreational cannabis. We're not, and that's my recommendation.
I appreciate your honesty and your candor on the subject, because obviously it's your industry.
Yes.
And I think that your words speak volumes about where we are as a city and where we are as a county, and that's why I'm okay with the delivery service and just coming up with some kind of structure. And I agree that I had no idea there's 22 of you guys out there.
There's 20.
You know,
There's even two. There's two that are out of county that are overnight deliveries. So if you call them and you give them your recommendation or license, they'll send you something overnight through FedEx into the county. And they're getting that money and then paying their local county taxes, money going to the state from that county that's not benefiting us. And then just like Mr. From the Imperial County Hemp and Cannabis Coalition, Mr. Francisco Andrade explained, what's going on in Calexico is this big industry from Trinity Farms just came in. They have millions of dollars backing them, and they're opening a 22,000 square foot facility in Calexico. And they are only going to allow transportation and growing there. No retail sales, no delivery services. They're not even thinking about the patients. They're not thinking about the cancer patients. They're not thinking of the HIV patients. They're not thinking of the diabetes patients, the kidney dialysis patients like my dad's going through. They're not thinking about any of that. And when I went to their meetings and when I explained to them, how are you going to get it out of here? Because they want to take it to the coast, they want to take it east, they want to take it to San Diego. You have federal border checkpoints going out of here everywhere. I guess they're going to fly it, is what I've heard recently, but I don't even know how they're going to do that. But my main concern is the patients. There's patients here in this valley that need it. And being here, I'd say El Centro and Calexico have the biggest patient populations. Probably Calexico's got the biggest and El Centro's second. But like I said, El Centro's not thinking about the patients. And to tell you the truth, none of the other cities in the county are. Brawley's not, Imperial's not. We're looking for a safe haven to be able to go to grab our medicine, to be able to, like I said, we're looking for a safe haven. And to be honest, I think you guys are our last hope, to be honest with you, unless we go into unincorporated areas like the country or Heber or some other place.
But I guess the other question or the other statement I'd make is, if we followed suit with the other cities, you're still going to deliver to your patients.
And depending on if that city has banned deliveries, like the city of Calexico has banned deliveries. So going into effect 2008,
They can't ban deliveries.
when I was there at the last meeting, in the deal, it said you cannot go into the city and distribute.
Yeah, but you can't.
Oh, so you can't deliver out of Calexico.
No, you can't.
You can't operate in Calexico, but you could deliver into the city?
Yeah.
See, but that doesn't make any sense with local law enforcement. Yeah, that's the gray area I'm speaking about. That's what makes it scary for us, because we're trying to help people. We're not trying to hurt people. I've been doing this for 10 years. To tell you the honest truth, I was doing it before I was 18. When I was 14 years old, I was bringing medicine to this county by edible form from LA. So I've been doing it for 14 years. I live, breathe, eat, and I do this, and I love it because I know what I'm doing is helping somebody. Be it whether they're going out on their last breath and they're comfortable doing it, hey, I'm there. I don't care if I'm getting paid. I don't care. I'll do it for free, because that's how I do it. I have a compassionate heart. Even my grandma died about 1.5 years ago, old age. She shot me down. Even my aunt died of cancer, terminally ill cancer. And I went in and tried to give her edible form, tried to give her the tincture. She said, no, I don't want that. You're talking about a lady that grew up and was raised smoking cigarettes all her life. She wouldn't take it because the old way of thinking was, no, that stuff's bad, that stuff's bad. And it's sad because I watched her suffer on her deathbed instead of going out comfortably. So, like I said, it hits home for me, and right now I'm dealing with my dad. My dad's got kidney dialysis. He's been a prominent business owner here in the Valley for years, operated out of Calexico, now out of Heber, and watching him go through diabetes and kidney dialysis and everything, it's tough. It's very tough. When it hits home, it's totally different. So,
Appreciate your comments.
thank you. I appreciate your guys' time and effort.
Any other comments, Councilmember Jackson?
No, I think I've made my point, and I think the gentleman actually kind of supported my point. So thank you.
Councilmember Silva?
Let me say that I appreciate Mr. Jackson's comments, and I think him and I have talked, and I think probably none of us supported the proposition that allowed this to happen in our state. And so I think it's a horrible thing that we allow this in California. But then the other side of me tells me that's just a reality of where we are, and that was something that was passed by the voters, and it's something that we have to deal with as a community, even though I don't think it's a good idea in any way. I was, when we're talking about a farmer's market for cannabis, I was like, what are we doing as a community? But that's just my opinion, and I do believe that it may have impacts on children. You say that they're not. I believe you, but intuitively, I'm also old. So intuitively, I also think that cannabis is not a good thing for anybody. But again, accepting that this is the reality of things, this is the law, that is our responsibility to implement, and looking at medicinal delivery, to me, it's about control as to where dispensaries are going to be located. It's about documentation. It's about accessibility of cannabis to the patients. It's about safety and having reputable businesses that will be patronized by patients, as opposed to not exactly knowing where they're getting their medicine from. I don't like it, honestly, I don't like it, but I think that the city needs to move forward, adjust and implement something that I think ultimately will benefit our citizens in Imperial Valley. And so that's the reason for my recommendation to allow medicinal dispensaries.
Mayor Pro Tem?
I think this is probably the greatest opportunity for us to really do what's reflective of what our community wants. I think that we have this teed up to really go out and ask our community, what do you want El Centro to look like when it comes to the medicinal marijuana space? I think that there's not a person on this dais that's going to support a dispensary tied to recreation. We've already banned outdoor cultivation. I think we are all in favor of a very, very restrictive environment when it comes to medicinal marijuana. Where I think that the issue is will it remain mobile only, or are we going to look to open one or more dispensaries? What better way to engage the public and see if truly what they want is to retain the status quo, which is the mobile, or should we move forward with a dispensary? I will tell you that I cannot remember a time we've had, what, 6 years, 5, 6 years that this has been in front of us? With the exception of one meeting, there was only one meeting where anyone spoke in opposition to having the city move forward with medicinal marijuana. And I think that that crowd was a little tainted because we had another issue on the agenda that night. But every other time we've had a public hearing on medicinal marijuana, the public has stepped up and said, yes, we want it. Now, I think Mr. Jackson raises some very compelling points with regard to the mobile dispensaries. My question, though, is in a retail setting, and maybe you can help me with this, in a retail setting, would the city exercise better control, better regulation, better access, and safety than in a mobile dispensary setting? I mean, I have a lot of concerns. I mean, present company excluded, but we could have mobile dispensaries out there delivering to who knows what or who knows who, right? I mean, 12-year-old kid opens the front door, hey, here's a package for your mom. Oh, you know, it's not quite. Yeah, so see, the one argument, Mr. Jackson, in my mind, from moving away and maybe having one dispensary, one retail, is because the city then would exercise greater control. And we've all heard about the safety aspects and the testing and making sure that it's being dispensed to the right age, the right segment of the population, and that sort of thing. So for me, I really haven't made up my mind yet. I'm not sure if I want to embrace just all mobile, which is what we have now, or one, maybe two dispensaries. I don't know. I want to hear what the community would like to see happen. And so I think we need to move forward with what we would maybe take as a position that we could sort of kind of embrace as an ordinance, because we have to have a starting point for people to talk about, right? So I think we move forward and see how much public outreach we can really do. I think that it's, like I said, I think this is a great opportunity to see democracy in action and have City of El Centro City Council truly be reflective of what our community wants.
Thank you. Councilmember Garcia?
Well, I'd like to start off by saying that I'd like to commend all of my colleagues for all the time and effort that they've spent on this issue. I know that we're not all on the same page, but we're all basically trying to get the right information to apply it to the city. Mr. Jackson, I understand completely your position. Again, and I commend you for the time that you've spent on this. And Mayor Pro Tem Walker, I have the same concerns that you do have about having this be restrictive. And I think that, Mr. Silva and I have discussed this before, where this was originally an issue for me about local control. That as we see by all the new amendments that they're trying to pass, we're hitting a moving target. And my fear is that if we do not have local control tied down to some sort of ordinance, that they will essentially draft whatever they feel and just shove it down our throats, as they have time and time again. So my concern is that once we give up the local control, we will not get it back. So I would have to echo Mr. Silva's comments and state that that is mainly the reason why I'm supporting an ordinance at this time. However unpopular the opinion may be, but I also would like to hear from the community as to how they would like that framed. Yeah. But after reading the ordinance that was proposed in our packet, it is very restrictive, and we have discussed about where you could have storefronts, specifically what type of zoning. It is not a free-for-all, And we've been very careful as to specifying parts of the city where something like that could operate. And my fear is that if we don't, and we ban it, and we're overruled by whatever state
Somebody
amendment
challenges us.
decides to
even.
do it,
Yeah.
then they're gonna just basically say commercial. And as we know, that opens up a lot of doors, a lot of avenues. And the last thing I want is for ordinances to be basically put in the city at the level that are allowed in basically the proposition right now, which is one per every 15,000 people at a minimum. So we could be talking about ordinances dispensaries right next to each other. And my main thing is gonna be local control. I wanna make sure that we stay on top of where this could be, if it's gonna be allowed at all. And frankly, based off of how this has been moving and all of the different amendments that have been brought forth, I just don't have that much faith to have Sacramento tell us what we should do.
Thank you, Councilmember Garcia, and again, I do appreciate Councilmember Jackson's comments, and again, sometimes these decisions are not the easiest, but I do also want to thank our ad hoc committee, and I am in support of their recommendation when it comes to medicinal cannabis. But I do want to hear from our POA. I do want to hear from our Fires Association and some folks from Public Safety on positions on where they're at. I'm not sure,
They've taken a position.
even if they've taken a position. But I want to hear from Public Safety. I would encourage that maybe a position or some comments are provided to the council, because I do want to understand the impact. One thing that I do understand is, medical cannabis will be in this community, whether it's through a retail front or through a delivery service. It's going to be here. So I do want to exercise the local control and exercise the ability to control the dispensaries and land use and those types of opportunities. The fact that we have an opportunity to limit it to maybe one dispensary as opposed to 22, I think is a significant opportunity. But again, this is not about my value. This is not about me. It's about our city. And we want to hear from you as far as what you want our city to look like when it comes to something as critical as this. So I'm hoping that what I'm hearing from the council
I
is...
think, Mayor, if I could propose,
Yes.
if we could look at page 316 in our agenda packet, as part of the staff report, there are a number of questions that have been proposed, and perhaps we could collectively give direction to staff so that they're in a position to start the public outreach.
Also,
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, can I clarify something? I think it's important to clarify that if we were to move forward, that the 22 delivery services aren't going away.
Right.
So you said have one as opposed to 22. If we allow one storefront, we're still going to have 22 delivery services, if not more, at some point in time. So they've been there since 19,
I would say,
whatever you
off
said.
the top of my head, there's about anywhere between 10 to 12 operating in El Centro. The rest are dispersed from Brawley. I imagine there's a couple in Calexico too, because, there has to be. But besides the point, the health department would be a good option to talk to, because that's where my patients all go to the county health department, and they get their county card through the health department. It's like $200 extra. They complain about it all the time, but they have to do it. If they're patients of mine, they have to have the county health department card, because it's health and safety, California health and safety. So thank you guys once again.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that comment, Councilmember Jackson. What I was referencing, or what I was trying to maybe reference, is that cannabis is going to be in the city of El Centro, regardless. And I believe that there is an opportunity to exercise some sort of local control with the feedback of our community. So do we want to go ahead and take those questions
Is that
as far
okay?
as direction?
So, do you mind if
Go
I
ahead,
can-
go ahead,
okay,
Mayor Pro Tem.
So the first question was, should manufacturing and/or distribution be allowed in the city? And I think that we're pretty strongly saying no manufacturing.
Well,
Yeah.
Could I follow up on that?
Yeah.
I'm just not clear on two things, and I've been getting a lot of inquiries from Center from Cancer Research regarding the manufacturing of the hemp oil and then the edible situation. So is manufacturing considered those being edibles, and then the hemp oil from the medical cannabis? Because my understanding is the hemp oil is something that's very valuable as well, and if they're gonna pull the hemp oil from the plant, is that considered a manufacturing process?
Yes.
So I just want to just ask our council or to be maybe mindful of that.
Keep in mind that there is nothing on the market today that they don't have access to. If we say no manufacturing, it's not like they're not going to be able to get hemp oil, because they've been getting it for the last 15 years at least. So I guess that's my biggest argument in this case is crawl before we walk. We've been crawling for the last 15 years, and there's nothing been out there. And now you're proposing that we move forward and have a storefront when we haven't even addressed the delivery service. And you've got a person that seems rather knowledgeable about the subject, a lot more than us, telling us that his opinion is we shouldn't be at that point yet. Let's look at how we maybe regulate and make the delivery, which is already in existence, which has already been here for years and years and years and going on maybe even to our next door neighbors and we don't even know about it. Let's look at that before we take this huge leap and bypass all that and say, okay, now we're going to do manufacturing, we're going to have a retail store, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Because once you've let that horse out of the corral, it's done. We can't pull it back. And we don't even know where we are in regards to the delivery services.
But
I mean, did anybody up here know there was 22 of them in Imperial County?
But I think that's my concern, that it appeared to me that we have very little capabilities to control deliveries, and deliveries is the Wild West, and we have, I don't know how much control we can impose on those things. The fact that there's so many of them without even our knowledge tells me that if potentially we can have more. And the city is not going to get involved because no one's come to us to ask for permission to deliver. And so to me, that kind of works in the opposite, in that there is little control we can impose on home delivery services.
Well, I'm not sure, because the gentleman says that there's models out there other cities are utilizing to, and I'm assuming that they're maybe licensing you as a delivery service for that. So I think there is a way that if you want to maybe control or at least have some kind of way to control that or make it safer or acceptable, and maybe that's something that, I mean, I'm just thinking out loud, and this is kind of a crazy thought, maybe it's an approved delivery service by the city of El Centro, and we are encouraging people that are utilizing medicinal marijuana to only utilize the delivery services that go through a regulatory, yes, where presenting insurance, presenting, your files, how you do it, the processes, all these things.
How would we enforce that?
You would have an ordinance. Look at your list. Type 11 is a distributor license.
Right.
It'll be
but I
required
mean,
by the state. You would require a local license for a distributor based in El Centro, not based in the county and delivering in. Those you can't regulate. But a distributor in El Centro would have to meet both local and state licensing requirements. Whether you want to do that or whether it works, I can't tell you, but that's the mechanism.
Well, I mean, we can't even regulate stationary businesses to have business licenses in the city of El Centro. I don't know how in the world we regulate mobile dispensaries.
But I'm saying to me, it seems like the reputable, and as a loose term, I guess, when I talk about this, but you seem like somebody that would want to go through a process. Yes. I mean, if you, and you, ma'am, also, you seem like people that are trying to do it the right way. You have compassion. You're doing it for a reason. If we were to come up with some kind of guidelines, and we looked at the model that you're suggesting of some of these cities that have some of this in place, I would assume that you two would probably be the first ones in line to follow that process. So I'm not saying that all 22 are going to do this, but let's say there's 5. Then we as a city say these 5 are, I don't know, approved delivery services by the city of El Centro, that they have all their paperwork, they have their licensing, they're paying taxes, they're paying some kind of a license fee, they have a business license, they're paying their sales tax to the city, all these things, and we are almost, I don't know, I don't want to say we're giving them the stamp of approval, but we're almost like saying, hey,
preferred vendors.
yeah, like almost like a preferred vendor status. If you're going to utilize a delivery service, utilize the ones on this list, because we can at least say that they're doing it the right way. And now, is that going to stop the other 15 from still delivering? Probably not, but at least it's a start. And I think, the statement the gentleman's making is crawl before we walk. I hear from my colleagues that you guys want to run, and we're not there yet. I don't know if POA is prepared to make a statement tonight, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but I've heard nothing but negative from our public safety, and not only ours, but law enforcement officers throughout this county, that this is not something that they want to have to deal with. So you have a gentleman here that's in the industry who says we're not ready. You've got law enforcement and James, I don't want to put you on the spot. If you're not ready to say something, okay. But, there's a lot of things here, and I just want to say, I just want to caution you guys, let's take this slow. I agree that we need the public outreach, and I hope that the community comes out one way or the other. Hey, prove me wrong. If the public wants this, I'm elected by the public, I'll support it. But the comments that I get in the public and the comments I get from law enforcement, and here a comment from the person in the industry is saying, we're not ready for this, that we need to crawl. Crawling, I think, is looking at the medicinal side of this and coming up with some regulations and some things that we can, and hey, love to work with you, put you and maybe you, ma'am, with some of our city staff, we research these cities that have these models in place. We take the best of all of them and we come up with something that is palatable to everybody. And then we move forward. And if that works, we revisit this in 12 months or 18 months, and then we say, hey, things are working okay. And then maybe if we're ready and we've crawled successfully, then maybe it's time to walk and look at a storefront. But I think moving forward to a storefront at this point, I just think is the wrong choice for the city at this point in time. Not to say that might not be the right time a year and a half from now or 2 years from now or hell, 6 months from now. I'm just saying right now, we don't know what we're doing, and I think we're making a bad decision, or we're about to make a bad decision.
I'd like to respond briefly. I think that regulation of mobile dispensaries is going to be impossible. Before the passing of this proposition, we had an ordinance. We banned delivery services in the city. What good did that do us? None. Now, if we propose to regulate mobile dispensaries, it's on a voluntary system. It's not going to work. Whereas if we allow a storefront that we heavily regulate, we know where it is. They can't move it.
But the other 22 are still going to deliver.
Could
But
I
you've got 2 delivery services right here that said that they would love to be part of a process that regulates and is doing it the right way. You have an individual here that doesn't take medical marijuana cards from, the boardwalk in Santa Cruz. He actually makes them go to the health department and pay $200 instead of $35. I mean, to me, there's at least some effort from these 2 individuals that they want to do it the right way. Then why don't we let them? Why don't we put something in place that allows the people that want to do this the right way, and we recognize those individuals or those delivery services or companies or whatever you want to call them, that they're doing it the right way. And I'm not saying that we promote their businesses, but at least they're licensed, they're regulated. If somebody wants to call the city and say, who's the licensed distributors in the city of El Centro, our city clerk or whoever has that list of those businesses and their contact information.
Well, I'm pretty sure we can't do that, but I'm going to defer to legal.
They will be licensed by the state, the Department of the Bureau of Cannabis Control, which is part of the state consumer division, and they'll have to get, if they want to continue in business anywhere, not in the city particularly, a Type 11 license. So they are going to be regulated. And if you wanted to have a local ordinance that regulated them, you would be regulating people based in El Centro. You would not be regulating people coming into El Centro. Now, what you also need to understand is, were you to consider a retail license, type 10M, only for medicinal sales, going along with that is control of the delivery from that retail facility. See, if you look down on the list that the Mayor Pro Tem mentioned, where we talked about the track and trace program for deliveries from there, you can control deliveries from your retail base. So I think as we write the ordinance to present to the public, we need to have a really strong understanding of what we can and cannot do. As we don't want to promise people you can do something you can't, or tell them you can't do something that you can.
Well, let me just say this. I think what we're really looking at, and we're looking at just giving staff direction.
Yes.
So I think there's going to be forums for the community to come out. And I heard Councilmember Jackson say, hey, you know, we're elected by the community, so I do want to give the community a forum and provide that forum and then bring that information back.
Yes.
So I am curious to take some comments from our POA president, but just real briefly, if you wanted to add to that.
Mr. Garcia's concern is really, really considerate for the city, being that he's looking out for the city's interest, because I hear the gossip, I hear the chisme on the streets going on in the industry. People are waiting for you guys just to ignore this from the cities, from all the cities in the county. They're waiting for you guys to ignore this so that the state takes control. These guys are gonna come in with their millions of dollars from out of county and gonna settle here and set up shop. That's why Mr. Garcia wants us to try to ordinance something, or you guys decide, try to ordinance something and set up some type of regulation so the state doesn't come in and take control. And a second point, I don't believe the El Centro PD is ready for a storefront. I really don't, because we've never really worked with the El Centro PD, and we've never, because there's certain training that needs to be done, so that, say they need to come to the retail store, they need to come in and check stuff out. There's certain training that needs to be done with the El Centro PD and with the storefront. The third point I wanted to make, you can, like the attorney said, you can point of sale, you can track, trace with the ability out of a designated area. Say the city of El Centro, say on Main Street, you want a designated area there where the delivery service operates out of. They can operate out of there with a permit, and you can track and trace everything, just like you do in the fields with agriculture. You stamp every box you do before you put it on the trailer, and it goes to the cooler. So say it goes off to, the melon goes to Colorado and there's listeria on it. They can trace and track it back to the field that it came out of the Imperial Valley by that stamp on the side of the box. We can set up all that with barcode and traceability and all that stuff. And I can't stress this more, that I don't believe the city of El Centro is ready for a storefront. I don't believe the PD's ready for a storefront. I imagine they're gonna come up here and tell you they're not, and they don't want it. But for the bottom of my heart, all I can say is thank you guys for being here and all your time and effort put into this situation, because it's a very tenuous, is it tenuous? Is that how you say it? Yeah, it's very difficult subject. So like I said, from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate everybody that's here, and especially the PD and the fire department and everything. Have a good one. Thank you.
Officer Thompson?
Thank you for allowing us to address this issue. The POA is not going to recommend storefront, no storefront, medicinal, recreation. That's up to you guys, up to the city. We're here to enforce whatever you do recommend. The only thing that I want to make very clear is that one of the most damaging things that California did to us as law enforcement officers when trying to enforce these issues is that they came out first with the medical marijuana, and then it got so convoluted that it was almost like we didn't know what to enforce, what we could or could not enforce. So I kind of, echo what the city attorney is saying, that whatever you guys come up with, storefront, deliveries, whatever it may be, just give us a clear direction as to what it is you're trying to do and what the ordinances are going to be, because again, it may be your intent to ban something. However, we still have to deal with the state law, which ultimately makes marijuana legal. So just make it very clear as to what you guys want for us as far as enforcement, and then we'll do the necessary steps it takes to train our officers for the legalities of whatever it is.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. I do want to try to move this item along, and I know that, again, we're ultimately looking for direction. Do we want to still go over each one of these questions, or how would you guys like to move
I
forward?
know that we were, well, yes, in order to craft the ordinance, which means revising the one you worked so hard on before, we do need to go over these questions. And we need to tell you that we can format the ordinance, but there's a lot more work to be done. You set up a fee system, I believe, when you did it before. Your fees are going to drastically change because the level of the regulation is much different. So if we move down the list, I think the answer to the next one should be easy. Are you interested in looking at a local nonprofit licensing system? Here's why I'm asking, because Norm asked me today. The 158 pages of SB 94 contains a provision that says that the state of California will look at a licensing program for nonprofit corporations that are providing cannabis products for basically people who can't afford them, in the same way that they would provide other kinds of medication. However, those regulations won't be ready for at least a year. If a local jurisdiction is interested in doing that, there's a process by which they can work with the Attorney General to put such a program in place. I'm pretty sure there are big places that'll do it. I don't know that you're one of them. One of the points you need to remember here that I think Councilmember Garcia touched on it is there's not going to be state regulations in place by January 1st when the first license issues. There might, maybe, be interim regulations. So all there's going to be probably for 6 months to a year is local regulation, whether it's prohibition or regulation through an ordinance of retailing or distributing.
This is such a fly-by-your-seat-of-your-pants structure that we're dealing with.
I have to say they're really, it is and it isn't. It's a pretty comprehensive bill. They're really trying hard to set up a system that will work. They sort of borrowed quite a bit from the alcohol regulation industry. It's going to take a while for the system to work. If it works, though, I think there's a shot at it actually working. And one of the incentives to make it work is it will bring in tremendous amounts of money.
All right, well, let's take that. So how do you guys want to, what is your preference on regards to that question?
Can you
Well,
put up that slide,
what's your
Norma?
recommendation? I mean, that seems like a nuance.
That I
let's see.
think, I think if you're not sure about a storefront, you don't want to go that far. See what the state does. You haven't heard a request from the public for it. If you do, let's talk about it more.
Okay.
So nonprofit would be no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could we go back to the distribution and?
Can I get the list?
Yeah.
Can we get the
Yeah,
list
can
on
you
here?
put the slide with the list up?
Yes.
Please.
Or Diane just needs to go back to the agenda, or, oh, there we go. That's perfect. Thank you.
I think back to number one, if I may, if I have the council's permission,
Yeah, I
is that
wasn't clear on the manufacturing piece, so
that we
go ahead.
have the forum and ask the community to share what their opinion is, if you guys believe that's appropriate.
But getting back to your point, Mr. Mayor, about the oil,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's going to be manufactured somewhere, right? It'll just be sold either through delivery service or to a storefront. So, or are you saying that typically that's manufactured on site?
I don't know.
Well, if we allow, yeah, Calexico will be doing cultivation and manufacturing, so they're going to be doing all those activities. Now, the question is, there's a type of license, the micro-business license, that would allow you to do cultivation within a 10,000 square foot building or a site. So it would allow you to do cultivation, distribution, and retail sales, and something else. So it would be at the minimum, the maximum would be 10,000 square feet, so it's not a large cultivation site, like not what Calexico is thinking about, but that if you want distribution and manufacturing, you would probably want the micro business.
If you wanted anything.
If you, yeah, so it would include the sales, micro distribution, and manufacturing. And cultivation, I'm sorry.
Again, my preference would be to provide the forum to the
Okay.
community and ask them what their interests are. I'm not a content expert, and again, this is their city.
Okay.
Provide if everybody would be okay with that.
I think that's one of those fundamental questions that.
But I think it's also you need to understand, when you're talking about the manufacturing of cannabis oil, that's not a small process.
No.
That's not,
That's what I'm saying,
that's
they're
not
gonna be made
you
somewhere
grabbing a
else.
few leaves and crushing them yourself and making oil. This is a huge manufacturing. So if you're talking about manufacturing cannabis oil, you're talking about the 10,000 square foot
That's a warehouse.
warehouse that's doing the industrial line type stuff. Yeah, it's not what I want from
And
my city.
looking
but
at the
whatever
ordinance,
you guys
I
wanna
don't
do.
think it's not personally what I was looking at either.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I just,
But,
that's.
but I thought staff wanted us to give them directions so be able to prep for the community meeting. Because I think the logic behind, well, ask those questions at the forum, that applies to all those questions. So, but I think you wanted more than just
That's
that, Norma, right? You
In
wanted-
order to have a draft ordinance and present it to the forum, to the community, this is what we're proposing. Let us know your feelings about, and then we'll go over the items.
Yeah, but my understanding was we were trying to narrow this to things that we were absolutely against.
Right.
Right.
I
So
thought we
for- so
all were
for-
against manufacturing and cultivation.
Right.
And now I hear that the mayor wants to change that, and we want to now go back to the manufacturing and distribution. That's not something that was ever on the table with this council as recently as a few weeks ago.
Well, the initial inquiry was, do they consider the hemp oil and the edibles as a manufacturing process?
Yes.
Is that,
No, the sale of it.
No, the sale, no.
the sale- No, the
So
sale.
you could have it available in the dispensary if you went
Correct.
storefront, and
Yeah.
it would not be considered a manufacturing process.
well, regardless, what I'm hearing is that there's pretty much, there's not, it appears the council's not gonna want to go down the manufacturing process.
I
So-
have a question for the gentleman that's here. Frankly, you're distributing edibles and oils, correct?
Well, the edibles we do,
Okay.
edibles because it's a passive,
Mhm.
it's not considered a manufacturing.
Okay.
Like, the manufacturing is the oils, the hash, the essential, whatever you would use, like some they use butane, some they use CO2 extract, which has been banned by the county council. So whether they want to do manufacturing or that type of stuff, it's not allowed here in the county because the county council banned it. They banned manufacturing with butane or CO2. The only thing you do is a rosin press, which is an old thing we've been using for 2,000 years on this planet. It's a hot press, just like an iron. You press the plant and it out oozes the extract. And in the hemp oil manufacturing is done on a chemist machine that's almost about as long as that podium right there. And it's got a tank where you put the material in and it processes it. It slowly extracts it out of it with cold, I think it's a cold extract almost. Extracts it, goes through a process and it goes into a bulb and spins over a low heat element. And it is a tedious process, and like I said, it's up to you guys what you guys want to do. But going back to your guys, the licensing, there's different licensing you guys can approve. The last license, which is micro business, which Ms. Norma inquired you guys, is all of those things under one roof.
Right.
So you guys can either approve that there's like Alpha Distribute, they only have a license to distribute, to transport. If you do the micro business, that means that I can grow, I can facilitate, I can package, I can even deliver, I can point of sale there, and I can even manufacture them. So it's kind of, you guys want to watch what kind of ground you guys step on. All right, so I do, so I hear, okay, so.
M and 11.
Micro business
Yeah.
will be all under one roof. Before I interrupt, sorry, I'll make it quick. I'm the one that would be interested in cultivating and manufacturing. I have won a few awards at the local fair for baking competition.
Okay.
Everything else will be delivery, but I'm willing to cultivate for the city and beyond.
All right, so in response to narrowing down, so I'm hearing that manufacturing's out in the city of the city.
Manufacturing's out.
Okay, cultivating. What,
No.
No.
okay,
No, you don't have a place.
okay. So that takes care of question number one. Question number two, I think we
Can
also.
we go back, Diane, or Norma, I'm sorry.
Oh, yes.
I keep looking at the wrong person. There we go, okay. Nonprofit, no. Temporary cannabis events, I vote no.
No.
No. All right.
ingest on
The
site?
next
So,
question would be.
on bullet number 3, we do have the discretion to say no? Is that
Yeah, you
our
have the
call?
discretion to say no.
Okay.
You can always change your mind in the future.
Okay.
On the retail system, including the ability to smoke or ingest cannabis on site, it would be a little area of your medicinal marijuana retail use that was sort of like a test area, a sample area. It would be set apart physically, then there would be specific regulations and signs posted to keep out anyone under 21.
I would say no.
No.
Okay.
Oh,
Track and trace.
yes.
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 Regarding additional restrictions on the display of edibles, I think you may want to consider them, but there are 2 sets of additional restrictions included in the pending amendments, which strengthen the packaging and the keeping it away from children. So I think it's possible it may have been addressed, but we'll keep it on the list, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's keep an eye on that.
All right, and the last one.
So the other thing that I also saw within your summary, Betsy, is that a distance of 600 feet is recommended away for dispensaries,
The law
away
will-
from
Yeah,
daycares, youth center, but the city has the discretion to
yes.
impose greater restrictions than 600 feet.
Unless you act differently, the state law is 600 feet. You can make that larger or smaller. Most people, I think, make it larger.
Yeah, yeah.
I think we already
Your current
accounted for
ordinance
that.
contains the 600 feet.
So my question is, as much as I would love to make it, well, hopefully,
Wait, 5 miles?
hopefully we don't have this issue to deal with. But if my colleagues decide to move forward and we do that, I would like to increase that.
Yeah.
But the problem I see is that we, at one time, increased that for sexual predators.
We got
And we got,
threatened to get
we
sued.
got threatened by a lawsuit by ACLU because we stepped over the guidelines and the laws by the state.
Correct.
So I'm seeing that this has got to be a similar case.
Not really, because that was based on constitutional associational rights, Second Amendment associational rights of sexual predators.
So you don't think we'd be
No.
somehow
No.
infringing on somebody's?
No, I think if you look at the last question, if you're only going to have 2 medicinal retailers, I think it will be easy to try to find 600 feet or greater.
No, we're not talking about from apart from each other. We're talking about from certain areas
Right.
like schools and things like that.
But if you only have 2 in town, it seems to me that if you plotted the areas you had to be 600 feet or more from, you would still have places that they could go.
I think the way they have it written now with the spaces they've designated
Yes.
is more restrictive than just the 600 feet.
It's zoning restrictive.
Okay.
For clarification, on the last bullet, was the answer 2?
Mine was 0, but that's just my answer.
I think we give options between, what's the recommendation?
One for every 15,000?
1 per every
That will be
15,000.
So we're
That means
talking 1
minimum
or
3.
2.
Maximum.
No, because we were over 45,000 census,
We're
aren't we?
over 45? I thought we were at 43.
45.
Well, they're going to round up and they're going to say they want 3.
More than 2.
So 0 to 3 would be the option, right?
Okay.
0 to 2.
0 to 2?
Okay.
Okay.
0 to 2.
0 to 2.
The last thing, if I may, for clarification, are the areas. The old ordinance, the previous ordinance was very restricted as to, there were 2 designated areas within Imperial Avenue and 4th Street. Did you want to go through the industrial?
Look at it again,
I'm sorry?
yeah.
Well,
In terms of
What's the
where,
question?
What's the question?
The locations. Do you want to keep maintaining in the general commercial area, or you want to also consider light industrial?
Where are light industrial zones in the city?
It would be,
I would say we'd want to take it off the general commercial and move it into the industrial, which is where
places
most
have.
cities that are following this,
Some
that's where they're
designate
putting them. Cathedral cities put them, theirs in the industrial area.
Palm
and
Desert put those in it.
Yeah, it's all industrial. And going back to another issue that we looked at years ago, we were talking about putting that in industrial only.
it would be areas east of 4th, basically,
east of 4th would be the only area?
that has industrial areas. Commercial Avenue, there's light industrial.
The
Brighton has light industrial.
The only problem is if we make it too restrictive, I mean, the land values, it can have a influence.
I just think what other cities have done, because I mean, do you really want it on our main corridors? Do you want it on 4th Street and Imperial Avenue? I don't want it in El Centro, period, but I certainly don't want it on our main drags. I mean, like, welcome to El Centro. Oh, there's a cannabis store.
I think we can regulate signage.
Oh, big time.
I think we can regulate signage to make sure that's not an issue.
Yeah.
I think a green cross is hard to regulate.
I think we're hearing maybe a
So
preference
maybe- so
for
that's-
industrial, but maybe some additional
I
comments.
would like to see what
Okay.
other cities, what other jurisdictions are doing, and it kind of to Mr. Jackson's point, if Colorado, Seattle, Oregon, if they had a do-over, what would they recommend?
Okay, guys, thank you for hanging in there. Councilmember Jackson, appreciate your comments. Everyone. Oh,
One more question, Mr. Mayor.
oh, one more.
Well, yeah, I think, yes.
Yes, I'm tired.
I
No.
sort of think that the council needs to see the draft ordinance before it goes out, although that's not on the schedule. Could we bring this back at the September 5th meeting, or I suppose a meeting in the end of August? It'll tweak the schedule a little, but not too much.
Or pushing public comments back out into
September.
I don't want to take public comments on something you guys aren't, well, comfortable with, or at least know what's there.
Yeah.
Crawl
think,
before we
Norma?
walk, guys.
September 5.
What works for you, Norma?
September 5.
September 5 would be fine.
All right.
Norma, does that give you enough time to go out and seek public comment, or do you think maybe
I
we
thought
need to
we were
come
coming before the
August?
council before public comment.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm saying. Is
Yeah.
that good timing for you?
Yes, because
or-
we would do the public
Okay.
comment right after council.
We pretty much expected September 5th, so
Yeah.
we're good.
All right. Thank you, guys. Again, Ms. Viacania, you've been very resilient when it comes to this, so thank you again for you and your department. And Betsy, appreciate all your help. Okay, I think we're done in regards to that. There is, I believe, one other public comment that we have, and
I want to be there.
yeah. I'm going to ask Mr. Walker to come up real quick. Brian Walker, thank you for your patience.
Was it a
floor is yours.
So the last time we talked, I was here in reference to the safe house that was built on Main Street that was being looked at, and that, of course, didn't get passed. And then there was another meeting that the mayor had that was done at the City Hall, located down in El Centro, the old City Hall, I guess, the building. And everyone's coming up with proposals and suggestions and complaining about the trash on Main Street, complaining about the alleys, complaining about how dirty it is and how the homeless are hanging around. So I took the initiative and I said that I was going to present something, and I'm a man of my word, so I did present something. And I have reached out to a lot of people, and we're gonna take this with the city. If the city approves it, I will take it next to the school board, and then once the school board approves it, then it will take and implement, we will implement it starting September 23rd. So I'd like to approach the council. Sorry, I only made 6. I didn't know there were 7.
There's 7?
So there is one bad spelling error on it. I'm not gonna tell you where it's at. You can see it. So what this is, it's called Taking Back Main Street. And this is called Taking Back Main Street because that's what I believe that we need to do and have our community more involved. Everyone wants to come up with a solution. Everybody wants to state a problem, but nobody wants to give a solution to it. I'm giving you a solution. So on September 23rd, I am heading this. This is strictly volunteer. I'm doing it out of the kindness of my heart because my business is located on Main Street. What would happen is I also have AmeriCorps also participating in this project. I have my school, of course. I have 100 students that will be participating as well. I also have Univision, Mexicali Channel, I think it's Univision. I also have Telemundo, I think, that state radio, TV station. I have Channel 13 News, I have the Imperial Valley Press. So on that day, you're looking at a lot of media coming in to start showing that the public is concerned about Main Street, and we as a community want to start cleaning up our streets. Once we start getting this project taken care of on Main Street, this absolutely costs no money to the city, or no money out of anyone's pocket. This is strictly volunteered. Okay, I'd like to ask the El Centro PD also to attend, to actually show recognition and to show the support. And that way, this also shows the city is not just a couple of business owners, one business out there working, trying to show this, but also having cops and families together and actually having more of a productive meeting with children and seeing that the cops are out there with them and bringing more of a community environment into Main Street. If we get this established, not only will it go into Main Street, it'll take a forth around our city, around every area that we possibly can. And this is the only way to get this initiative. Somebody's got to lead it, somebody's got to start it. And with your approval, that's what I'm willing to do. It'll be every Saturday, every third Saturday of the month, starting in September. The reason why is because it was going to get started in August. Due to the fact that school is about to take place, I want kids to settle down in school. I want them to get familiar with their classes, their teachers, and get their homework set and bedding. And then September, I think the 19th or something is when the date is. That's when I will be there at 8 o'clock in the morning to anybody that wants to do it. Kids these days have to do community hours, and they're going everywhere they possibly can do community hours. They're going all over the place, and do we really know where their kids are at? Do you really know where your child is at doing community hours? Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. At least in this is adopted to where AmeriCorps, myself, some family members will be making sure that we monitor the kids. Now, safety issues also come in place. The city has already donated some trash picker-uppers. I do have rubber gloves. I do have trash cans. I'm about to go invest in some mouth guards and Windex, all kinds of items that are for safety issues. The kids a certain age will not be walking down the alleys due to this fact that there is hypodermic syringes. I found one the other day right across from my school, right in front of Tommy's. So there are hypodermic syringes. We don't want kids walking down the alley. Instead, the kids at a certain age will be sweeping and also cleaning glass in front of people's businesses and trying to make their business look a little bit more appropriately. The older students or older volunteers that want to participate in this will be escorted by myself or by some responsible adults, and we'll be monitoring them picking up the trash in the back. And that's how we will monitor that process. No kid will be walking or no kid will be unattended, because we want to make sure we monitor and everybody's safe. I think if this gets approved, I do believe that this is going to help the city and also show the people that were here in the last couple of meetings and around that's been going on, to show that there are people that do have a solution, instead of people keep coming up with a problem when we're not facing the solution. We have a lot of other aspects we can also get into. I know we can also use CASA, if we can use them as well, get the foster kids out there to help learn responsibility, learn about commitment, and learn about doing things that is honest, instead of going around and throwing a bottle on the ground and disrespecting it. I come from a Marine Corps background in Okinawa. Their country is so well off, if you spit on the ground, they'll arrest you. If you throw a trash bottle on the ground, they arrest you. I'm not saying we need to do that. Okay, maybe the attorney can approve that and figure out some ordinance on that. But the only way this is going to happen is if we start taking back our Main Street, start taking back our community, and start showing. Because right now Main Street is tore up, and you know that, I know that. Businesses are leaving, and for us to establish that program, I think if we start showing business owners that we are concerned and that we're here as young ages all the way up to adults, excuse me, I think you'll see more businesses coming in. And I know there's other projects that are being taken place with the city, and I know that there's homeless that's going to find a different area to go live or to go stay, Salvation Army and all that. I understand all that, but I believe if we start doing something, identifying the graffiti, identifying things that need to get painted, identifying things that need to get fixed, it's kind of like citizens arrest, kind of like, we see something that's got graffiti, we report back to the city manager, report back to the mayor, hey, this has got graffiti on it, we need it painted, okay? You've contacted the business owner, because now you got more eyes. Instead of just having law enforcement, now you have more people. You actually have the citizens and the community there to be more watchdogs within our city and down Main Street. So if there's any questions, thank you for your time.
I actually appreciate you coming forward and again sharing. This is, I think, a great opportunity, just to really a testament to our community and everything you've done for us, Mr. Walker. So then we welcome this. I don't know if there's any other questions from the council.
Yeah, I'm really pleased to see that, and I knew you would. In the little bit of time I've known you, you're a man of your word, and I know that you were gonna come back with something like this. And it's good to see. This community needs more people like you, and I hope that we can get all these schools and all these students involved, and this could be a program that expands throughout the city, and I certainly will be there whenever I can to help, because downtown's important to me, and as well as the city. But I'm very encouraged by the time that you've put into this, and you've thought this out. You've already reached out to media to publicize this, and I'm 100% on board with you. I think this is a great program.
Yes, sir. Good job.
Good?
Yeah, I'm giving you a standing ovation. Right. Awesome.
All right.
The only thing that I need is approval from you. Whenever I can pick up the approval on the flyer, I need to make a correction, so I'll have to bring it back to you because I want to make sure that it's looks good and it's not just missing one word.
You know, we have a community enhancement task force meeting tomorrow, so it'll be 2 council members and most of our department heads and the deputy city manager. So can we get back to you tomorrow and just
that's fine. And that way I can get it, because the next step is of course the school board. Once I get approval from the school board, these will be flyers will be floating around inside the schools, so the kids will know where to sign up, because it also comes with a timesheet and a time log. So I'll be able to coordinate it, and they can take it back to their school and get their community hours accounted for. And then with that, I'll also have all these flyers posted up in businesses down Main Street and around our city, so that way everybody can see that, hey, there is community service, instead of kids trying to get community service. They're waiting until their senior year and they're falling behind.
Yeah.
And they can't graduate unless they have it. So there's no excuse now.
If I could suggest one thing, maybe Mr. Walker, if you could just take one of your flyers, and I'll give you back mine if you need, and just make the correction that, because I don't see it myself, but.
If you look at the bottom, it says let's bring life back, back Main Street, should be a 2 in there. Bring life back to Main Street.
Maybe that way we can take it and try to get approval as amended, and that way we don't have to go back and forth. So that's the only change you'd be making on the
just the
flyer?
2, just the 2.
So
T-O.
Okay.
That's it.
Then we can move forward on that tomorrow.
Okay.
Councilmember Jackson or Mayor Pro Tem, could I ask then that maybe one of you get back to Mr. Walker once that is approved, or would that be appropriate? And you know where he's going to be found.
Okay.
All right, sir.
All right,
We're
thank you.
excited. I'll be there
Appreciate
that
it.
first Saturday. So
thank you.
or that first
you.
thing. Okay, we're going to go ahead and move down. We do have
Mr.
some
Mayor?
items on the successor agency and redevelopment.
I'm sorry, one more extremely brief thing. You have in front of you a letter from a man named Mr. Grissett. He was, he left, he had to, something he had to do. He sent this letter, I received it, Commander Sawyer received it. I believe that Commander Sawyer has is in the process of providing him a response, or will do so if requested. So, I
we
just want to let you know that there is a response out there.
Well, I think we would like to see the response as well, right? I mean,
Yes.
I think that for me, what I kind of questioned is if there has in fact been a change in policy. Did we used to provide notification to people that, hey, by the way, your car's going to be towed if you don't move it? And then all of a sudden we moved to a different policy where if it'd been there too long, off
I
it went.
believe there's some misunderstanding on Mr. Grissett's part, but why don't I talk with Commander Sawyer when he's available? I'll email and get you guys back a response.
Yeah. And I guess the other thing is, how did this get to be so much so fast? He's saying that he owes $1,800 to the tow company? Storage?
I believe there have been several incidents in which he has been involved.
I don't think it's just one. I was in the office one day when he came in, and he was complaining about, I think, the most recent tow. And he had said that this is like the second or third time or something his vans have been picked up.
So why are they being picked up?
I'm assuming because they're over the 72-hour, is it 72 hours? Yeah. So I'm assuming that our guys are marking the tires and they're not being moved within 72 hours, and then they get towed. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if Commander wants to speak to it, or if he's prepared at this time, or.
I can speak to the general process, but I don't have enough information about the specific case.
Yeah, could you talk about the general process? Because, I mean, I used to see dusty cars with a big orange sticker on them, and that was the heads up that you better move it or it's not going to be there tomorrow.
So that is a tool that typically our parking enforcement officers will use, is a bright orange sticker along with the chalking the tires. And that was part communication for other officers, so it'd be a clear indicator to them, hey, that vehicle's been tagged. I know that within 120 hours, if it's not moved, then it'll be eligible to be towed. But it is not something that's required by code or by statute. And if an officer goes out there and doesn't happen to have those extra, the chalk or the stickers, a citation will actually meet the statute and actually meets our process. The others were extras to communicate to other people, but they're not necessarily required. So my understanding in this case is that the person was issued a citation, it was in the window, and from the email that I saw, I don't have a lot of direct information, it was clearly visible in the officer's video that the citation was visible on the window at the time that the vehicle was impounded.
Okay.
So I guess what I am hearing though, Betsy, we're gonna prepare a response to them, to him.
I believe Commander Sawyer is working on one, if he has not actually sent one, but since he's not here tonight, we'll check in and thanks. Yeah.
Okay. And did I hear that you guys want to see a copy of the response before it goes out?
No,
or-
no, but I will be
Send you a
CC'd on
copy.
it.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Send it to Marcella to send you.
Okay. Very good. So just moving down to the last items, and I know we have task force and council member reports, but we do have an item regarding the financing authority. So I guess what I'll do is I'll adjourn our city council meeting and then move under the financing authority. Would that be appropriate, Betsy, to do it that way then?
I think you're going to recess your city council meeting because you're going to be returning to it, do the
Okay.
financing authority, and then come back for your informational items.
Okay. So at this point, I am going to recess our city council meeting and then bring back our agenda regarding our financing authority. So we'll go ahead and move into our financing authority. We have two items on there. The first, we have an item under consent. We have two items under consent. So, I'm sorry, let me back up. Let me go ahead and call to order the financing authority meeting. Go ahead. Do you want to?
Financing authority is now in order. You can start.
Okay. All right, we are now in order.
29.
Very good. And we have two items under consent. And at this point, if there's any council member that wants to pull an item from the financing authority agenda, please do so. If not, I would entertain a motion
I
to
move
approve.
approval of items 1 and 2 on the consent agenda for the financing authority.
Excellent. I have a first, I have a second, I have a first from Mayor Pro Tem Walker, second from Garcia. Let's go ahead and vote. We're going to do this orally. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And that motion carries 5-0. Okay? We will go ahead and reconvene under City Council. There is some informational items there for you guys on the agenda, items 12 through 16. If there's not any other discussion or questions as it relates to those, we'll go ahead and move into committee and council member reports. Mr. Garcia, you want to start us off?
I guess, yeah.
Or let me double check, is there any other public comments that we have? We do have a public comment, or?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Please approach the podium. Right there. Yes, sir.
Mr. Alex Cardenas?
Yes, right here.
It's concerned about this, been a concern, especially in the drastically last 10 years, Treasury Department of the nation, and it pertains to all the economy and all that, even this county. And I'm a veteran, I'm a veteran raised in Holtville, and I reside here in Holtville, in Holt Central. But it's going to be very drastic because the Treasury Department of the California, especially with Junior Brown, is not going to give you nothing. It cannot be the Ferris wheel. And I'm concerned because I got manipulated all my benefits after 20 years, say 17 years. And I'm a veteran, and it's just concerning at City Hall. And I respect our Central because I don't go to other cities, and I don't like that, especially dope dealing and street gangs and all that, and hanging out and from other states and counties. So I pertain to the principle, like you said. A lot of people need help, especially in this county, because of lower economy.
So your comment is in relations to what, sir? I'm sorry.
Are you Mr. Cardenas?
Yes.
Judge Cardenas' son?
Judge Cardenas' son? No, sir.
Well, the Supreme Judge was Cardenas. That's why I thought you were
Contreras.
Contreras. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Judge Contreras.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just thought I'd speak because a lot of people coming from other counties and doing a pit stop, even cops and undercover cops, even from Mexico. So it's going to pertain a lot of children that can't even go out and walk and go to the store. Even I can't even walk to town from Imperial to 4th Street. I think you better consider that. It's Treasury Department of the nation, not the state.
Okay. Thank you, sir. All right. Any other public comment? All right. Being that there's none, or Councilmember Garcia, you want to give it a shot as far as committee reports or committee and council member reports?
I have nothing to report this time.
All right. Mayor Pro Tem?
Well, I'm really pleased to announce that I had the opportunity to chair the SCAGS Scholarship Committee, and 2 students from Imperial County were selected to receive $4,000 scholarships along with a 2-week internship. The way that works is every county in the SCAG region is awarded 1 scholarship. Los Angeles gets 2, and then we kind of do this free-for-all. If there's a really good candidate, we award it to another scholarship recipient. And so for a 2nd year in a row that I've chaired the scholarship committee, it's come back to Imperial County. I'm not saying that those things are tied together, but I'm really excited that that happens. Also attended a really fascinating demographic workshop up at USC, and I'm going to bring some information back to you guys with regard to birth rates in California and immigration and all this. It was a fascinating presentation. A lot of what we currently believe with regard to immigration and birth rates is totally wrong, and it's going to have big implications for our planning department and future that way. Also attended the League of California Cities meeting, the board meeting up in Monterey, the end of June, first part of July. And I think that the 3 issues that really dominated the league board meeting, affordable housing was big, homelessness, and then we also got into a big discussion about some pending legislation that has to do with creating safe zones to allow drug addicts to actually shoot up in certain.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Maybe we could
it's a
pass
world
that
gone mad.
ordinance,
But the thought is that it's a pilot program, and I believe it's for 6 of the 58 counties in California, and it would allow these safe zones that would also offer education and other things for this particular population. So the League of California Cities is staying neutral on that bill, even though the Public Safety Committee came out in favor of us submitting opposition.
Was there an author on that bill?
Yeah, and I can't remember who it is, but I bet we could do a real quick Google search and figure out who that is. Last thing I wanted to report on is last week I spent 3 days in the San Diego and Inland Empire region in connection with California. As part of that California Connections Leadership Program, was able to do a presentation about Imperial County focused on our water rights and the value that we bring to the statewide economy. Had the opportunity to go to Cal State San Marcos and was extraordinarily impressed with the community outreach there. Largest percentage of students attending college for the first time, first person in their family. Largest percentage of foster youth on campus. They have a dean that essentially is all about community outreach. So I was talking to the mayor that maybe we could get some of our foster youth and take them up on a field trip up to San Marcos. So one other thing. At the El Centro Chamber Board meeting yesterday, they did ask if CR&R could potentially open on an occasional Saturday. I know that we do it quarterly for the big cleanups, and I reminded them that we have the bulk pickup. But what was brought up is the folks that work Monday through Friday and then go out and do a bunch of tree trimming or yard cleanup or something, and then there's nowhere to take it on that Saturday, right? So I said I'd bring it up and see if there's an opportunity for CRNR, maybe one Saturday every other month to open up for a few hours if there's folks that want to drop stuff off. Okay.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Councilmember Silva?
I think that since our last meeting, I attended the chamber, wasn't the chamber dinner?
Is that after
I
that?
think it was after the
Oh.
council meeting, perhaps. Was it out before? Okay, so I'm repeating my announcement then.
Yeah, because it was on the 15th.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I want to compliment the mayor. Some of us were at the investor dinner from the IBEDC and a potential investment group that is looking into El Centro for a major project. And the mayor did an outstanding job in terms of welcoming our guests and also thanking them at the end of the evening. I thought that the whole team that was put together by the IBEDC really did a tremendous job. I was there almost the entire day on behalf of IBC and the workforce training, but I thought that the day went by really well, and we're all very hopeful that this project materializes for El Centro.
Councilmember Jackson?
Yeah, just to piggyback on Mr. Silva's comments, I want to commend the mayor. I think he did a great job in welcoming for the dinner. We had the VIP dinner. I've been a part of a couple of these now, and I gotta say, I think that my feeling when I walked away was that very encouraged, and I think that we're further along than we've ever been in trying to land one of these, which would just be huge for not only El Centro, but the entire
region,
Imperial Valley
absolutely.
region as far as job creation and the ancillary industries that would also relocate here to support such a manufacturing facility. So very encouraged there. Attended the League of Cities conference and went to a couple of great sessions. One was actually on earthquakes. When's the next big one? And
Lucy Jones, Dr. Lucy Jones,
yes,
did she do
yes,
that?
she was the one that did that. And interesting. And then the other one was affordable housing, which they did a comparison of San Jose and were you in that one with me? San Jose and who? What was the other city? I can't think of the other. It was a small, but it was just the comparison was, and the way that they had gone.
In California?
Yeah, they were both California cities.
Was the other one somewhere in like Central Valley or?
I can't remember. I'm blanking right now.
I'm trying to remember the city manager's name that made the
Yeah,
presentation.
but it was incredible. I think in San Jose they had obviously a housing shortage that they were talking about, where a single, I think it was a studio apartment was $700 and something thousand.
You have people living in trailers, like trailers, because they can't
Yeah,
get housing.
it was incredible.
Making great money, but there's no housing.
But there's no housing.
So they're
Yeah.
living in.
So I thought it was just
motorhomes.
interesting how they. And then I stayed the extra day and attended the finance, which Letitia's not here, but I got to tell you, it was way over my head. I think it was way over just about everybody. You could see you knew there was 3 finance directors in the room because they were like, oh yeah, and everybody else was just like, what is she talking about? It wasn't. I don't think it was geared to the council level. So I'm not sure I got as much out of that as I had hoped. But all in all, I thought it was a good conference. My hope in going to a conference is come back with one good solid session, and I think I came back with 2, so I was happy with that. Also attended the El Centro Regional Couplet Care ribbon cutting.
Oh, yeah.
And excited to see, got to see where I'll be having my daughter in December. So looking forward to that. And it's a great facility, and I think that it's another enhancement to where we are moving for healthcare in El Centro. So
Yes.
I'm happy to see that.
Excellent.
Thank you, Councilmember Jackson. And yeah, I also attended that ribbon cutting. Very nice to see the progress that they're making with our city hospital and public health. So great work on their part. Also want to thank staff. I know that we did participate in this IVEDC situation, and Terry Hagan, Abraham, Norma, Marcella, we just shined. We were rock stars, and So I do want to thank you guys, and I know you guys have been working really hard, working Saturdays and Sundays. I know, Norma, you've been answering emails on Saturdays and Sundays, so I do appreciate your work ethic, and I know that Marcelo's been burning the midnight oil as well. Yes, sir.
One last thing, I think we just so quickly glossed over it. I think it's appropriate to congratulate our new deputy city engineer and welcome him aboard,
That's
and
a great point.
thankful that you're staying with the city, so.
So, yeah, thank you. So welcome and congratulations on that. But guys, I'm just so proud of you guys, and thank you for just being a part of that. Just a couple real quick items. I know our strike team, we did send a fire strike team up. Are they back yet? Yes. And everything's okay? All right. I think we did pretty good as far as our fireworks ordinance. I know we took that up to 5. I know some of the local service clubs did pretty well and no major incidents. Also just attended our IID. We did receive a summer grant from them, so I attended along with Pat to collect that check. So doing some great work.
Dippy Duck?
I'm not the Dippy Duck, but
That's funny.
but I do want to thank, also attended the California League of Cities, and I'm really glad that Marcela was able to participate. And then just real quick, I went to our sports pavilion, or the Conrad Harrison Center, and watched the basketball tournament.
Yep.
They have 5 and 6 year olds, 7 and 8, 9 and 10, and then 11 and 12. Guys, that gym is so packed. And they are going to be doing the championship bracket on the 28th and 29th. I'll be presenting a trophy. If you get a chance to visit the Conrad Harrison gym on a Friday, oh my God. Well, you won't be able to find parking, number one. Number two, these parents and what staff is doing over there in terms of putting this tournament is amazing. So congratulations. Please pass on our appreciation to staff and everything that they do there. Also want to thank staff. Last point, thank you for allowing us to go dark in August. That is not easy to do, but we will be dark. Please get some rest. Try to stay cool, and we will stand adjourned until September. Thank you.